It is 6 a.m. from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. Good morning. I'm Justin Hawkins. The Tennessee Titans are on the practice field today and open to the media at 11 a.m. this morning. Head coach Brian Callahan is scheduled to meet the media before practice at 10:15, and special teams coordinator John Bones Fossil, offensive coordinator Nick Holtz, and defensive coordinator Denard Wilson are all scheduled to meet after practice at 1:15 this afternoon. Conference finals last night in the NBA. The Indiana Pacers are one game away from the NBA Finals as they take a 3-1 lead over the New York Knicks, 130-121. Tyrese Halliburton stepped up again for the Pacers last night, having a triple-double, 32 points, 12 rebounds, and 15 assists. In the NHL, the Edmonton Oilers win their third straight over the Dallas Stars and take a 3-1 series lead. After a 4-1 win last night, the Oilers had 4 different scores and now find themselves on the cusp of making their second straight Stanley Cup final. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you've got to visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Yo, what up, Nashville? 3HL is not on the air. They will be on the air later today. See, I already did it. Brett Doherty with you. Alongside Ramon Foster, it is Ramon and Will, brewed up by Scooter's Coffee.
Scooter's Coffee, man.
I'm going to tell you this, man. I've got some electrolyte water in front of me. I'm going to see how many cups of coffee I can have in 4 hours.
Are you a coffee guy?
Yeah.
You are a coffee guy. Well, let's go.
I'd cut it out. Working in the afternoon, you start drinking coffee in the afternoon, it kind of affects the rest of your night. Yeah. But, in the morning, honored to be here. Wednesday edition of Ramon and Will. I am Brett Doherty, one of the hosts of 3HL, heard weekdays from 3 to 6 on 104.5 The Zone. Filling in for Will Bowling with Ramon Foster. We'll be here until 10 o'clock. Holler at us if you want in, 615-737-1045. Ramon and Will, brewed up by Scooter's Coffee. Man, Moan, we got a lot to get into today, brother.
We do, absolutely. I was thinking about this name. It can be problematic. You've had 3HL for a very long time. You know what I'm saying? Just coming back from commercial break and being able to say the name 3HL. You know what I thought about we can call this morning?
What?
R&B. I almost had J-Hawk just pull most of the R&B tracks. No R. Kelly, though.
That's good.
I don't think we're back on R. Kelly just yet, J-Hawk.
We still leaving R. Kelly out?
We can do some Keith Sweat. Yeah, we can do.
Oh, Keith Sweat.
We can do some Keith Sweat.
Yeah.
We can do R&B hump day.
It is hump day.
It is hump day.
Hump day?
Your days of blend. See, J-Hawk even got us together. See, we welcome you into this. That was solid. Clearing up the diaphragm a little bit right there, J-Hawk. But you were good for the most part, though.
The best impression of Slay doing Hump Day is Dawn Davenport. and she hates it.
Hates it.
I don't know if you can find that, J-Hawk, because that's in the 3HL button bar thing. But
yeah.
No, it's going to be fun. So 7 hours of radio for me today, which is a great opportunity. And they asked, and they were like, Will's going out of town. I'm like, okay. And they were like, we're going to get some people to fill in. And it was going to be a surprise day today, but Buck did what Buck does, and he can't hold anything in. So he let everyone know. So today it's me, Mayor and Moan. And tomorrow Don Davenport jumps in the mix. That'll be fun.
It's going to be, here's the best thing.
You got to needle her a little bit.
I know.
It's fun to get her going, man.
It is. And Babs and I, as you can tell when I come on y'all show on Thursdays, we go at it. But it's fun. It's like brother, sister. It's
That's
like,
right.
relatives going at each other. So I'm looking forward to watching her come back at me on how I go at her, because it's one of those, it's just our thing, Mayor. It's just how it goes at times.
What is phase 3? What was phase 3 for you? We keep hearing about, OTAs don't really start until you get to phase 3 where you can have some competition. We'll talk about that in the next segment. Jim Irsay with an incredible sports collection. That's coming out.
Insane. It's some stuff that people do in life that you just say to yourself, yep, would have did that. Like, if I'd have had, Mayor, if I get at some point, I keep saying I'm going to get to that private jet life. I don't know how we're getting there, okay? Well, I do have plans, okay? But what I'm telling you is this.
I know you have plans.
Yeah, I got plans,
You're not
man.
just sitting around.
No, you got to throw it in the atmosphere first, and then you start working for it. That's a great plan right there. But Jim Irsay is a big B billionaire. You know what I'm saying, Mayor? So it's like a lot of stuff that he did throughout his his life, people wish they'd lived or had those types of items. And one of them was like, what is it, Jerry Garcia's guitar that he's had, his collection.
Ooh,
it's called a Jim Irsay collection, by the way. He had a 250-year-old copy, original, whatever they want to call it from back then, a copy of the Declaration of Independence. Mayor, he also asked Barack Obama to sign it. Like these
hey, shoot your shot.
That's what I'm saying.
Shoot your shot.
And Obama said, he wasn't worthy of it. I mean, nobody really is at that point. Heck, you pretty much got all the signatures you need at that point, Mayor.
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing? But he lived it the way you want to.
Yeah, we'll hit on some of that. It's really interesting, and especially for sports fans,
Yeah.
And it's funny because, like, back in the day, that's what you wanted was autographs, and then it became pictures. Hey, man, can I grab a pic?
Man.
And then now, like, in this town, we just leave everybody alone pretty much. You know what I mean?
It's too invasive almost.
Yeah,
like,
you see, like, Keith Urban and Nicole Kidman out with their kid, playing sports or something. You just leave them alone.
Or the most intimate moments that you're supposed to be having, like, as far as, like, friends and groups and stuff like that. Like, we're watching Stephon Diggs right now have, 40 cameras on a boat with him and his friends. It's just like a lot of that gets it. I mean, and Stephon, he's having a good time.
Careful with NFL players and boats.
And boats, Mayor. 100%.
Minnesota, Isaiah Wilson,
Miami Giants.
Mm-hmm.
The Giants fans are calling that their curse. It's the Odell Beckham curse whenever they went down on that boat in Miami and they all had boots on top of that, Mayor. Like,
I love
who
it.
put some boots on the boat? But autographs real quick. You mentioned
You're not
that.
supposed to even wear shoes on
That's
a boat.
what I'm saying. Like,
Much
what are we
less
doing?
boots.
Or some Sperry's. Right?
Yeah, okay.
Does that
Okay.
count? That counts. Okay.
Slip-ons.
But you mentioned like getting autographs and stuff like that. So back in the day, in the 90s, Memphis wrestling, or wrestling, whichever way you want to call
Jerry
it.
the
was
King and all those guys.
I saw all of those folks come through Ripley High School because of I guess you would call it the Chitlin circuit of wrestling back in the day, where it was super regional. You remember?
Like they had territories.
Oh my gosh.
In wrestling.
It was huge.
Yeah. How far away from Memphis were you?
Man, about 35, 40 minutes.
35 minutes?
Yeah, 35, 40 minutes. Probably about 40, 45 to be quite honest with
I
you,
talked to
because
so
it's a
many
slow
people
highway.
that grew up, like you're younger than me, but like that grew up in our era, right?
Yeah,
like that,
yeah, no doubt.
That are from that
Saw
area
it.
that
Yeah.
always went down to the
Listen
Civic
to
Center.
me. Listen to me. Channel 5 on Saturdays is what a wrestling was going to be on now. You saw guys from The Big Show, Jerry Lawler, Razor Ramon come through there, man. Like, it was some stars
Is
and
that
studs.
who you're named after? Razor Ramon?
Nah, I took that on. It's like, I did take the toothpick and just
you
flick
did?
it at people in high
Might as
school
well.
and stuff.
Yeah.
And my brother Ronaldo, the one you call the assassin, he was down this weekend, by the way.
Listen,
Mister.
I've never met Bernardo.
You missed him, Mayor. We had
I
a
know.
good time, too, on the back
I bet you
porch.
did, like grilling and chilling.
Yeah, that's exactly what we were doing.
Yeah.
We did a shrimp boil this weekend, though. Nardo had some. But your guy, Savage, didn't touch it. Too spicy. He said he wanted to live in a box.
He's funny about food.
But you got to appreciate a person that knows their boundaries in food, because the last thing you want is a messed up bathroom or a messed up car.
Lord knows what I want.
So he stayed away from it, but getting those autographs from those wrestlers.
What was the
back
first?
in the
What was
day,
it? Do you remember? Like, does something stand out when you were a kid in terms of like meeting someone, getting an autograph?
My first attempt at it, honestly, was I called the operator one time.
Called the operator.
Yeah, trying to talk to one of my childhood heroes. You want to know who that was?
Wait, you called the operator and said, "Hey, can you ring this guy?"
Yeah.
Oh my Lord.
You want to know who it was?
Who was it,
man? It was Emmett Smith.
Emmett Smith.
Hell
Hey,
yeah.
can you get Emmett Smith on the phone? Thanks.
Hey, straight up, that's how it went.
You are crazy.
I swear to you, Mayor, we hit 0. And the operator picked up the I guess our call or our line. It was like, "What can I do for you?" And I was like, "Can we get the number to Emmett Smith?" And
Yes, sir.
you know
Hang
what
on.
she gave us?
What?
I remember the number
555?
to this day. Yes.
Yeah.
555 2222.
yeah.
That was the number she
You know,
gave us.
off topic, which will be a lot of today. Ashton Genty reminds me of Emmett Smith.
Ashton Jensen.
I'll tell you why. And correct me if I'm wrong. From his game to me is, I mean, similar stature, but
yeah.
the contact balance, man.
Yeah, that's huge.
that's what kind of so Emmett wasn't the fastest guy, he wasn't the biggest guy, but like he was shifty and he could take hits and keep going.
Yeah, he could.
And that's what I see in Ashton Genty. I had a dream before the draft that all running backs were not created equal, and that Ashton Genty, that the Titans traded back and drafted Ashton. I think Ashton Genty's going to be like all pro, Pro Bowl. I think he's that good.
I do too. To me, we had this conversation just lightly. We can do it again if you want to, but the conversation about Cam Ward and Rookie of the Year, Offensive Rookie of the Year.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to be between him and Genty. There's no reason why.
I think that's right.
And Will and I had the conversation about it being Travis Hunter. By the way, congratulations to him in this wedding that they just had in Nashville, apparently, too, by the way.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, he got married here in Nashville. A little birdie of mine told me that he wants to live here.
Oh, well, who doesn't?
I mean, that's also the other side of it, too.
Yeah.
Wanted to be here, like, on the team. But of course, draft goes the way it goes.
Right.
And he was looking for a place to live at here in Nashville. Big old piece of land with some, with a pond and stuff like that, which you can get still outside Nashville city limits. But he got married here in Nashville. But Will thought that, he brought up the conversation. I ain't going to say he fully thought because I could be misquoting him, that it'll be between Travis because of how they'll try to use him offensively. But I said, no, we're talking about Pete Carroll. We're talking about the Las Vegas Raiders.
Yeah.
We're talking about Marshawn Lynch Jr.
Yeah.
They're going to use Ashton Genty to, I'm talking about just like Marshawn.
3 down back, catch the ball in the backfield.
I'm talking about what we doing. So we got the quarterback and we got Genty.
Blaine used to talk about this. Maurice Jones-Drew gave him trouble because he said you couldn't see him.
Yeah, I can see that.
Behind the offensive line, and then he would pop out, and he's, shifty and all those things.
Low to the ground.
Well, Genty's kind of like that, too. And I was going to ask you, like, how impactful is that? Like, to have a running back, because I don't think, like, just me as a sports fan, I never really thought about that, like watching on television.
Yeah, it matters.
But, like, if you're a defender and you're looking in front of you at the trenches, you don't see a guy and then he pops out. Yeah, like he could be dangerous.
We could talk about that a little bit later if you want to, but it's the same stuff that we dealt with, on a different way. Le'Veon Bell was a tall running back. Is a tall running back. No, was. I guess he's retired now. Was a tall running back. So what he would do, to your point about being able to like shrink and get behind guys, Le'Veon would get low, stay behind us, and basically track the second level guys. Yeah, that same thing could be done too with a running back. One of the guys that did it for us off top was D'Angelo Williams, Memphis Tiger. Like he would be in a position to where
good, that guy
just hit the hole and nobody saw him. Yeah, you know what I'm saying. So there is an advantage to that. But if you got, like you said a second ago, the contact balance that Genty does, and just he's vertically challenged, those types of things go in his favor right there.
It's going to be fun, Moan.
Yeah, it is. I'm looking forward to it.
All right. So when we come back, we'll talk about Phase 3. What is Phase 3? What do you remember from Phase 3? Because, that this is where you can go competitive. You've got 7-on-7, 9-on-7, 11-on-11. Still not supposed to have contact, but I do want to ask you about that. And as Buck let out of the hat yesterday, Don Davenport with Ramon tomorrow. Savage Radio on Friday.
Make you growl.
Slay
and make you growl
Foster.
Right there.
And it's funny, too, because I like to say that ever so often that you and Slay are brothers, like legit brothers.
Actually.
And every time I say that, people will get in the chat and be like, what? Wait, what? What? They're really brother? What?
Steal.
Yeah, so Savage Radio on Friday. That's what's coming up. Wednesday edition of Ramon and Will. And look, for all of y'all thinking, Will Bowling's getting replaced, all this. No, that's not happening. It's not happening. Everybody gets a vacation.
Yeah.
Well, we try. We try. But we do live in a competitive industry. So I think that's why when people do take days off, people are like, wait, what? What's going on?
Yeah, it messes up the flow a little bit. It doesn't really mess up the flow. It's just one of those things like you're supposed to be here every day because I'm used to having you every single day. That's what it is.
So from my perspective, I'm honored to be here with you. I'm honored to be in Will's seat, and I will do the best I can to
I saw you walking in this morning.
Up.
You had a little pep in your step, too.
I do. I'm a morning guy anyway, so I need some coffee. I do have my electrolytes with me. But Wednesday edition of Ramon and Will. I'm Brent Doherty. We'll be here until 10 o'clock. When we come back, what is Phase 3, Ramon Foster? Next.
It's Ramon Foster for Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Good people, man. This is the company that I also use, and I trust them, man. And the reason I can tell you you need to trust them is because of this. Their guarantee is happy you'll bill, the service is free. Let's just start there first. Second, we'll go to Hiller has also been in business for over 35 years and are family owned and operated. With their techs, they're always professional, experienced, and trustworthy. And they always do background checks on them and drug screen them too when they're on their way. So you're not waiting around. Y'all know we hate the wait game when it comes to fixing stuff inside of our house. Well, they'll send you a photo of the tech and a link to track them in real time, so you're not wasting time waiting around for somebody to fix something into your house. All right. So whether it's the HVAC that you need to be fixed or the plumbing or an electrical emergency, most of the times we don't even know what it's going to cost or if it'll get fixed right, or if somebody's just trying to sell you something that you don't need. When I tell you this, when you call Hiller, the expert's going to solve your problem quickly. So if you want to deal with a company that I use and also trust, simply visit happyhiller.com.
Usher Raymond, look at that. Wednesday edition of Ramon and Will. I'm Brent Doherty, honored to be sitting in this seat today. We'll be here until 10 o'clock. Big Savage, thanks for having me, man. Always great hooking in. Appreciate you doing Thursdays with us on 3HL. And
we got a good thing going.
We always have a good time, and I know you could be doing a million other things, and sometimes you are, but you always make time for us. We appreciate that.
We were doing that last night, man, down at Vandy. We were late night over there.
Oh, you had some baseball over at Vandy?
Yeah, had some stuff we had to do.
That's a great facility, man.
It is. They are, by the way, as much flack that they get from time to time, they're beautifying around that football stadium. You tell the football's getting done first.
It's going to look phenomenal.
Yeah, you see clear glass. You see, it looks like if they really wanted to go that route, it looks like a stormtrooper over there, man, from what I can see, like Star Wars stuff and everything. They're coming into it. And you know what, Mayor? You have to. In today's sports world, you got to do that type of stuff.
It is hump day. You can watch the show live on Zone TV, YouTube, Facebook Live, Twitter, and Twitch. As Babs would say, Twitch, please. Daryl in the borough definitely needed this today. Struggling, still mourning everyone. Daryl, hey, man, lifting you up, brother. This is a prayerful community, so don't know what you're going through, but so many people, we are very cognizant of this, that so many people are going through so many things that are listening to us, and just know if you reach out to, there are a lot of people that'll lift you up. So, Daryl, we're thinking about you, brother, whatever you're going through. You can get through it, man. You can get through it. We get one life, and there are challenging times, there are victorious times, and we're all here for each other. Karen says, morning, Daryl. There you go.
There it is.
Karen, morning, Mayor and Ramon.
Hey, now, Mayor Ramon, I like it.
G. Sully says, loving these shakeups. So, if you're just tuning in, Will Bowling with the week off, and so a lot of us are come running to help our guy, and we're not helping you necessarily, but we're hanging out and having a good time. And I will say this, I haven't done morning radio, Moan, since 2008.
Since 2008?
Yeah, so
the entire year, or that's when it stopped?
I'll explain. So
okay,
long story short, I left 1510, had a non-compete, wanted to come to the zone.
Yeah.
And was able to get that done, but if you remember, 2008 was kind of an economic downturn, so it took a minute to they're like, well, at this point, we can't bring you on full time, we can't. We can't do, insurance and all those things. So I worked part-time. So I did another job, did this at night, part-time with Mickey Ryan. We did a show called Overtime.
Mickey was here for that?
Yes.
He's been in the industry? Wow.
And so we did other jobs, did this at night, all this stuff. So I was working part-time. So when Kevin Ingram would take time off, I would fill in for him on the wake-up zone.
Right.
And sometimes Mark would be there. Sometimes Frankie would be there. Sometimes they both would be there. Sometimes neither one of them would be there. So, but that's the last time I did morning radio. And so I'm a preparer because I'm a control what you can control guy. And listen, I love all y'all listening to us, whether you like us, love us, don't, whatever. I always say you can't please everybody, but we just try to have as good a time as possible and give you a window in your day where maybe things don't add up that are tough and that you can have a laugh or two. So I always think about it in those terms. But I would wait. When I filled in for Kevin, I would wake up at 3 a.m.
Yeah, geez.
And I would come in here and start putting the show together. So what I did last night was I texted you, Jayhawk, and I was like, here are some of the things that I'm thinking about. What are you guys thinking about? Yeah. And then, it was easier to do it last night. So I was glad to know that you came in at like 5:40. So
yeah, we're in here, man. My first week doing this early in the morning, Was
it a tough transition?
Yes. Well, it's the everyday side of it because, I've always been an early morning guy. When I was playing, we were in the weight room by 5:25.
Right.
So.
But this is a different thing where you're having to be verbal.
Yes.
Right? You know what I mean? That's a different thing than
totally
I
just
lift
lifting.
and I'm tired.
Then you go about your day at that point. You got to talk and be on your P's and Q's like that. You don't want to get crushed by a weight bar or anything, but you can get up early in the morning and go work out. So I'd say it's the first week blitz, you're good. And then the second week, Mayor, you're like, okay, this is Monday through Friday. Yeah. And I tell people if you're ever doing mornings like this, I think like you said, Mayor, if you're in a people business to where you gotta deal and respond to people, it's probably gonna take about a month. You know what I'm saying? To really get caught up and get into the mode of it. Like now a sleep-in day for me is like 7:30 to 8 o'clock. You know, like those are the things like that.
You just can't do it. You just can't go beyond that.
But like I was never like, you know, on Saturdays you go to your friend's house and his mama be like, he's still asleep. And it'd be 10 o'clock. Yeah. That was never me. Like I'd be up by 9.
Yeah.
But like a 10 or to a 12 o'clock morning sleeper on a Saturday, never my style like that.
So I used to fill in for a guy named Duncan Stewart who's turning 80 today. You probably remember him. He got on during the 0-6 year in 1988. He got up on a billboard just right on the other side of our building, overlooking the interstate, and he wouldn't come down until Tennessee won. So, like, he's really famous, even for back. I mean, that was a long time ago, but people still remember Duncan. Happy birthday, Duncan! He's turning 80 today.
Happy birthday.
As a matter of fact, but I would fill in on the House Foundation. Jerry House is maybe the biggest radio icon. I think he is the biggest radio icon in Nashville history. And he told me, he said, you never get used to doing mornings.
Nah, you don't. But you know what? As busy as my kids' schedules
frees up your day, right?
Frees up your day. Now, your night ends sooner, and you appreciate. My best day of the week is Friday, Friday afternoons, because that's my day. Like, don't call me, don't hit me up, don't ask me to do much on a Friday afternoon, because that's the day I can stay up late and I can also sleep in the next morning, barring baseball.
Might have a little brown water.
I mean, listen to me, man. It's a good time.
P96, good morning, Mayor. Need coffee. Caring, morning, Mayor. Again, glad to be here. Will just on vacation, y'all.
He just on vacation. He ain't kneecapped or nothing. Okay.
Nephew Sully, Mayor done turned into MLK. I mean, all running backs are not created equal. They are not. What did I do?
No, it was Jayhawk saying that he almost got by an ostrich last week. It was in the emu. Jayhawk ended up playing the emu in between Will's monologue one morning.
Those commercials are hilarious, so funny to me. I don't know why. And I like try to analyze myself while I watch it. Like, why do I think this is funny?
Because it is.
But my man with the sunglasses.
Here's the thing. If you've ever, and I think you have because I heard you talk about it, if you've ever seen Mad Men, it's strategic. Love that show, by the way, with the ads and stuff like that. They strategically get to those points where it's fascinating. They reach us, Mayor. It's what it does, Mayor.
I love it. So, yeah, you can watch the show again on TV, YouTube, Facebook Live, Twitter, and Twitch. We've got a lot to go, a lot to get into. We're going to do Phase 3 here in a second. But last night, man, NBA playoffs, Indiana beats New York 130 to 121 to take the 3-1 series lead. Pacers guard Tyrese Halliburton messed around. Moan had a triple-double, 32 points, 12 rebounds, 15 assists, and no turnovers. Now, here's the significance there to me, and I think this is a really cool story because, you know, people do these anonymous things, right? Yeah. And so there was an anonymous thing that went around the NBA, and the question to a lot of NBA players, and I don't remember who did this, maybe you guys can help me with that, but they asked the question, which guy's the most overrated?
Yeah.
To NBA players. And he came back, he won that little deal.
Saw that.
Tyrese Halliburton, most overrated NBA player by his peers.
Mm-hmm. That sucks.
32, 12, and 15.
Yeah.
Go mess with this. Hey, mess with his dad. That's a sideshow. But
Who's back?
He's back. This guy, though,
yeah,
he's got a weird jumper, but man.
He does. He shoot like one of them bad kids that just know how to be an athlete. You know what I'm saying, man? You see him there just throw the ball up in the air. He shoots.
Like, let me teach you technique. Nah, dude, I got this.
And it works for him. It 100% works for him. He moves like that, too. I'll tell you another one, man, that you're familiar with that moves like that. Dillingham from Kentucky. Exact same way. He's sporadic with the basketball, got an unorthodox shot, kick his legs out and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it's fascinating watching him. But it was cool listening to Tyrese Halliburton last night speak about his triple-double because he mentioned he mentioned, you know, who would be proud of him. And everybody, I guess, thought to say his father. He said his AAU coach. And he was like, why? He was like, because, you know, his coach told him to continue to do your thing. It'll come to you. He was like, well, also because I got 12 rebounds. He was just like, I never rebounded. And I was thinking to myself, like, his AAU coach probably just told the rest of the team, y'all get out of the way. Give him the ball. And he was like, the fact that he got 12 rebounds last night, his AAU coach would be very proud of him.
So, you know, Slay and I pay attention to things like numbers and things like that before the game. And so Halliburton yesterday, his
things like numbers.
his points, rebounds, and assists total for yesterday, over-under number was 34.5.
No way.
32, 12, and 15.
You went under?
No. We went over.
Oh.
So that's 59.
Yeah.
It was 34.5. He goes 59. I mean, zoom past that. 615-737-1045. Tonight, OKC going to try to close out Minnesota. The Thunder favored by 8.5, 7:30 on ESPN. Are you in on the NBA playoffs?
I am very much in on them.
Me too. Do you get into it in the regular season too?
Not as much. To be quite honest with you,
there's a lot going on.
Savage
during
gonna
the
hate this.
I know he is. But it's a real question.
Man, I used to be more into it until the NFL walked in on Christmas Day and said, "No, this is our show now."
Savage does hate that.
Yeah,
the NFL just chooses to dominate everything.
So I wait to probably. After the new year to start diving deeper into it. But
the reason why I ask you that is because a lot of people that are of a certain age love the NBA back in the 80s and the 90s when Jordan and Bird and Magic and all those, Isaiah 100%. Thomas and all those guys were running around. The game was called differently. It was more physical, more competitive. All
you
these
knew
things.
the names and the teams and the places guys were going to be at.
Rivalries. Now it's a player-driven
league. And you
league.
played a style of ball in school that was exactly like the NBA's in the sense where you ran offenses and stuff. So, most
now
definitely.
It's spread out, all these things. But I will say this, to those of y'all that think that way and don't watch the NBA, these playoffs have been great.
Yeah, they
have been great. You have 2-3-1 series, but these playoffs have been great. And I know nationally, you get Indiana and OKC, that's not going to be a big ratings pool.
It should be, because the talent is there.
That OKC team is so much fun to watch.
It's so fun to watch. That is also for the people that love their homers too. This is a team built up of their guys that they poured into. Even SGA, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, is one of those guys, man, that he made himself there. You talking about Chet Holmgren has turned into one of those guys that was drafted there, got injured, came back, and now he's turned into a star. If you want to see anything, watch him get thrown around like a beanpole, like a rag doll. And but that's the way he's lived his life. Right. All his life. He understands how to fall to the ground. I heard y'all talking about that one time too. Guys got to know how to fall to the ground.
Yeah.
He's one of those guys that understands and gets it. But here's the thing. We'll bam on you at any moment.
Yeah.
He will dunk on you and get aggressive like hell. So if it is Indiana, I'm somewhat hoping Indiana get it. I'll be quite honest with you because not just because Buck Rising is an Indianian, but what I'm telling you is this. I appreciate the idea that these guys are mostly homegrown. I know Pascal Siakam's not, but looking at Tyrese Halliburton turn that team who hadn't done that type of stuff in a very long time. I mean, the Bird got one?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I'm interested. Bird was Celtics.
Indiana championship. He coached Indiana.
Yeah.
They last won it 25 years ago, something like that.
Let me check that out. Let me effort that.
Or last went 25 years ago. NHL Stanley Cup playoffs. If y'all aren't watching that, that's sports entertainment too, man. And I know this is a market that loves its predators and is very civic minded sports wise. And maybe you don't watch other teams, but. If you like drama and sports and entertainment and all those things, the Stanley Cup playoffs have been great too. Edmonton took a 3-1 series lead with the help of a 40-year-old player with a 4-1 win over Dallas last night. Game 5 is Thursday in Dallas. Tonight, Florida is great. They're probably going to win it all. They'll try to knock out Carolina tonight. Panthers lead the series 3-1. Florida, a -125 favorite today. What is Phase 3?
Oh, man. Let me give you the rules of it real quick.
So what I understand it to be, because Coach Mack kept telling us, wait till Phase 3, wait till Phase 3.
Yeah.
Everybody's getting acclimated. You learn. The rookie session is learning how to practice and all these things at an NFL level. But Phase 3, you actually get to do 7-on-7, 9-on-7, 11-on-11. You're not supposed to have contact.
Yeah, you're not supposed to.
It is not mandatory.
Allegedly.
Voluntary, involuntary. But so the mandatory stuff happens mid-June for most teams. So that's what I understand Phase 3 to be. What was it to you?
Yeah, so it's 4 weeks total, like you said, 3 weeks for 10 OTA practices, then you get a maximum 3 OTAs during the week. And then you also have mini camp in this area too. So here's the part of it too: is no pads except protective knee, elbow, and helmets. No live contact. As you said a second ago, you gave the phases that they could coach in. Here's the thing, Mayor. When I first came into the league,
competition in all that, though. You know what I mean,
Mayor?
Guy on guy.
That's just like the speed on the highway. Suggested, okay?
In terms of contact, there's no way you could do team drills without contact.
And here's the thing. You remember last year, I'm surprised the Titans didn't get docked a practice because of it. Whenever he lifted who was it? Dylan Radins off the ground. You remember that? Doing Jeffrey Simmons floored him off the ground. I think that was during the OTA period. But there's no way for bigs to go up against one another and not get physical. There is no way for bigs to go up against one another and not get aggressive, not get mad. Somebody go a little bit harder than the other person too. It's going to happen, but not just us. The wide receivers get very handsy. I mean, the DBs get very handsy. The wide receivers get very physical too. It is as close to football as you can possibly have it without actually tackling. That's the one thing you're not going to do. You're not going to get in or around or touch the quarterback's arm, not even a little bit. Hey, we saw you get the sack, defensive end. Okay, we acknowledge it. You better not touch the quarterback arm, and don't bring anybody to the ground, although that does happen from time to time too, because there's been a few teams that have gotten practices docked from them. Baltimore, from my understanding, the guys I knew that was in it had a very physical and aggressive OTAs, and not just them, but Seattle a few years back got docked for it too, because they were out pretty much tackling guys also during this time of the year. It's football is essentially what it is. You get a real opportunity to go vets versus vets, vets versus young guys versus vets, and stuff like that in real team organized settings. And it's practice before you actually get to training camp, Mayor. So it's fun if you are a veteran. It's fun if you know the offense. If you are, for the most part, a young wide receiver, and I'll go just young player in general, there's no true answer on how to get through it other than just to practice every day and not getting embarrassed. Because you'll tell a defensive lineman, hey, no bull rushing. Mayor, guess what they're going to do?
Yeah.
They're going to bull rush.
Right.
It used to be times where guys would just be jerks, okay? Guys would just be jerks,
Competition
Mayor.
will do that to you, man.
And you know, man, screw those guys on the defensive side of the ball, man. Screw them dudes, because here's the thing. I'd be telling them, like, bro, you know we don't have pads on. One, you've headbutted me. I don't like that. Like, keep your head out of it. Two, you're bull rushing me into a guy that I'm not going to allow you to get to, but we don't have on any pads. What are we doing right here? And now people,
we need him.
Some people
you
can
need
say,
him.
yeah, well, you need him. So why are you trying to tackle him right now? We used to get to a point, so we practiced on the South Side. It's where it was in Pittsburgh. We used to call them South Side All-Americans because, like, there are no All-Americans in the NFL. So, sir, what you're doing in college doesn't resonate here. And we challenge those guys. We'd be like, man, I better see this in training camp when we put pads on. I better see you do this in training camp. And you know what happens more times than not, Mayor? We never did. We never saw them turn into what we like to call Southside All-Americans to Pro Bowl type players. Those dudes are really just trying to it's like going to a showcase where you've gone to baseball showcases and stuff like that, or combines.
Yep.
All you want to do is get a high number, but you're not actually playing the sport. You're just doing the drill. And I hated those types of dudes because it makes practice hard. It puts people on the ground, and you absolutely get nothing from it, because all the coaches want to do this time of the year is run their offense, see guys complete passes, see what their footwork look like, and just the operation and flow. Is more timing this time of the year than it is, hey, we're making a football team.
You're trying to build up to camp, right? Like, so every level is that. So how important is that rookie session where these guys, because and I know from what you're saying here is, like, these guys come in with a head of steam, right? Yeah. Like, they want to prove a point.
Absolutely.
But they need to learn how to practice on the NFL level.
And that's so important because, one, you're not going to get a rep back, so to maximize it, good or bad. And the idea that, look, this isn't the physical. Like, it's all mental this time of the year. So if you can show me that you're not going to have MEs, mental errors, if you're going to show me you know where you're going on every single play and you can do it at a full speed, well, I should be able to start trusting you by the time training camp. Like, I moved up from the 3s to the 2s because of OTAs. I was picking up blitzes. I was able to see and key and diagnosis, Coach Mack like to say from time to time. I was able to take on the playbook. And also, like I said, it's not physical, but you hold your own. There are moments where an older guy try to come at you, and you got to hold your ground.
Yeah.
Now, I ain't telling you to fight, but I'm asking you to hold your ground. And that's what coaches want to see in those moments right there.
All right, more Phase 3 talk. Titans on the practice field, one of 20 NFL teams that started Phase 3 yesterday. We'll get your take if you want in, 615-737-1045. Tristan and Johnny, next up, if you want in, please feel free. 615-737-1045. Wednesday edition of Ramon and Will. I'm Brent Doherty filling in for Will Bowling. More next, 1045 The Zone. little R&B for you this morning on a Wednesday in the Music City. Hope you're having a great day. Ramon and Brent are in R&B. Wednesday edition of Ramon and Will. I'm Brent Doherty. Ramon and Will brewed up by Scooter's Coffee.
Hey.
I saw a little nugget yesterday that I brought up, and I wanted to make sure that Babs heard it because she reacted. But did you know that we're a few days away from being closer to the year 2050 than we are 2000?
I heard that.
How about that?
You know what I heard? I was like, Brent, don't do this. I was like, don't do this, Mayor. Like, I remember when we were excited for year 2000. You know what I'm saying? Like,
oh, we were worried. Y2K.
Oh, my gosh.
Everything's going to break. Computers are going down.
I was at my grandmama's house. We was waiting to see if the computer and stuff went over to
weapons are going to be fired accidentally. Like, I mean, that was another
day. Another day. I had my black eyed peas and greens the next day, man.
That's right.
If you're from the South, you know.
That's exactly right. Join 104.5 The Zone for our 2025, speaking of Golf Classic, presented by Ferguson on Monday, June 9th at Nashville Golf and Athletic Club. Located in the heart of Cool Springs, this historic golf course features breathtaking panoramic views of the beautiful Middle Tennessee countryside. Purchase your team today and choose between 2 flights, 8 a.m., 1 p.m., and spend the day teeing off with us. For more information or to purchase a team, visit 1045thezone.com. Shout out to Daniel Gupton, my guys, Gupton Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram, listening. He texted mornings. He said, morning, Mayor. You and Ramon are killing it.
Hey, thank you. We also got a text from my good friend Austin Stanley, too, who acknowledged mornings a second ago, man.
What did he say?
He said, you got an efforting. Come on, here we go, Mayor. You quick with the search. I got it. You got it. I got it.
You got it.
I got it.
It's your show.
From my good friend Austin Stanley, man, who's up early with us too, by the way.
Well, he's got a newborn.
Yeah, well, congrats again. He never went to sleep then, if that's the case.
Or, woke up multiple times.
No doubt. He said year one of morning radio was constant jet lag for him. He went through the whole year feeling like constant jet lag. There is an adjustment. You just got to get... You got to go to bed at night.
I'm glad you got used to it because, like I said, one of the best to ever do it, Jerry House said you never get used to it.
I'd almost prefer it, to be quite honest with you. If I get into bed by like 9.
I know. I texted y'all last night and you were already gone.
Yeah, we were already, I just logged my phone off for a second. You know what I'm saying? Just my wife told me that she's like, you need to take a nap. I was like, when was the last time I took a nap? Answer that question. I'm not a napper person.
Yeah, Slay Dog is. It's hard.
Oh, he'll go to sleep on you talking to you at times.
If you nap and you go to sleep hard enough, like you wake up and you wonder, like, what time is it? Where am I? What's going on?
No doubt.
I don't like that feeling.
Yeah, I don't like that feeling either. My mama used to say all the time, you don't go to sleep, you don't take a nap because you think you're going to miss something. That was probably true too.
That's exactly what my thought was. It's funny. That's exactly what my thought was.
Every time I take a nap during the day, I wake up worse than when I.
That's what I'm saying.
Sleep.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Some people can do it.
You know what I heard a nap was though too? Is we're getting off the rails a little bit. I heard a nap was only like a 30-minute close your eyes. I think of naps as a sleep. Like
there are various theories about that. Like you need to do it in like bullet point sort of and not go too far.
Barely going down at like 30 minutes. Like it's weird. Like that's what Savage says. Savage like it's a 15-minute. I'm like, what do you mean? Like you're barely laying down after 15 minutes.
I don't think
a nap
you want to hit
is like an hour,
sleep.
Isn't it? But like a nap is just like a break in the day. Is the way I look at it.
Right. So if you hit your REM sleep, you're in your deep sleep. So you got rapid eye movement there, so that's when you start your dreams and stuff like that. So if you're too deep in your sleep, then when you wake up, like me, then you're going to end up being worse off.
Really?
So if you have a shorter nap, then you wake up more refreshed because you didn't go into that deep sleep.
So do you just supposed to stay asleep?
No.
If you hit REM?
If you just wake up, just
on this. We got to get some
that you're not better off.
I need some
that's what I mean. P96 says 15 to 20 minutes.
I love to look things up like this.
Yeah, so that's barely going down at that point. Like it takes me 15 minutes to unwind my brain. You know what I'm saying? Like to really like calm down.
But I'd rather just like lay down and rest a second and watch some TV show.
But that's not a nap. That's like your granddaddy. I'm just resting in my eyes. You know what I'm saying, man?
D. Chrisville says, I love my old man naps. I rely on them.
I love to know how long it is. Like, legitimate. Is it like 15 to 45 minutes is a perfect nap.
Everybody is saying 15 to 20.
But I was told not to take a long sleep then. Don't go to REM. But either way, that is a fascinating approach. I'm not a napper, though.
Jack on Facebook says, yes, Jerry House was the best. Shout out Jerry House.
Shout out Jerry House.
615-737-1045 if you want in. We were talking about phase 3, no contact theoretically, but competition. But you kind of went through what that no contact actually looks like.
Yeah, it really is. It gets physical this time of the year.
Football.
And coaches, to be quite honest with you, want to see you go there.
Yeah.
But here's the other part behind it, though. NFLPA can pull tape at any moment. And if they catch your team going a tidbit too much, you're going to get docked for it. And that's where coaches got to play that fine line of trying to play peacemakers and stuff like that.
So Tristan in Brentwood. Tristan, good morning, man. What's happening?
Thank you for taking my call. Yes. Okay. Do you think we'll get to 7 wins or 9 wins and get to the playoffs this year? And yes, I usually take a nap after I work, and I go for an hour or more.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, that makes sense to me. Like, you go for an hour, I think, is a nap. But everybody's saying 15, 20 minutes.
Here we go. 7 or 9 wins. Like where are we with that? I mean, we're sitting here in May. I don't know.
We're gonna have that conversation later. What does 7 to 9 wins do to it compared to a 3-win season?
Where did people think Washington was in May last year with a rookie quarterback coming in? Where did people think they were? Did you think they were 1 win away from the Super Bowl for the first time in 20 years or whatever it is, 30 years?
No, I did not. I didn't see that. Like, I heard Savage say he was wrong about an LSU quarterback before. Yeah. I heard that yesterday.
He doesn't get Nussmeier.
Well, I do. I do now because he's in the same system.
Here's my pushback on Nussmeier.
What's that?
And I was talking to a guy down there. Defenses did not account for the LSU run game at all. Yeah. So he was always throwing into coverage.
Okay.
And so the thought that LSU has is to try to get to a point where they can establish a run and then kind of unload the pass.
The run game opens up everything else.
It opens up everything.
And they had the offensive line for it also. 2 offensive linemen drafted, maybe 3 if I'm not mistaken, last year too. They always got bigs. But yeah, win-loss record. It's going to be, as we just said a second ago about LSU though, Mayor, 7 to 9. That's going to be what the offensive line does up front for the run game. We're seeing right now small sample sizes of Will Levis, Cam Ward. That is a demerit, okay? Cam Ward connect with Calvin Ridley, which we didn't see a whole lot of that last year, man. Like real touch passes to a guy like him. But I think it starts with Tajay, and I think it starts with Tony Pollard more than anything, too.
When we come back, J.C. Latham told Bussin' with the Boys that he has dropped 20 to 25 pounds from 360 to like 340. Said he wants to get to 325, 330. I want to ask you about that, like about maintaining weight, where you need to be as an offensive lineman. Obviously, you played guard. He's moving to right tackle, which talking to offensive line experts, they think is his natural place because he's a big physical push you down guy. And left tackle is more of a slide guy now, more of an athletic position. And so we'll get into that when we come back. Take more of your phone calls, talk more Titans football. 615-737-1045. Wednesday edition of Ramon and Will. I'm Brent Doherty. Ramon and Will brewed up by Scooter's Coffee.
It is 7:02 from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. Good morning. I am Justin Hawkins. The Tennessee Titans are on the practice field today as Phase 3 of OTAs continue, and they're open to the media at 11 a.m. this morning. Head coach Brian Callahan is scheduled to meet with the media before practice at 10:15. Special teams coordinator John Bones Fossil, offensive coordinator Nick Holtz, and defensive coordinator Denard Wilson are all scheduled for after practice to meet with the media at 1:15 this afternoon. Conference finals last night in the NBA. The Indiana Pacers, they're one game away from the NBA Finals as they take a 3-1 series lead over the New York Knicks after winning 130-121 last night. Tyrese Halliburton stepped up again for the Pacers with a triple-double, 32 points, 12 rebounds, 15 assists, and 0 turnovers. In the NHL, the Edmonton Oilers win their third straight over the Dallas Stars and take a 3-1 series lead after a 4-win last night. The Oilers had 4 different goal scorers and now find themselves on the cusp of making their second straight Stanley Cup final. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you've got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once. On your home for the Titans and Vols, this is 104.5 The Zone.
Wednesday edition of Ramon and Will, brewed up by Scooter's Coffee. I am not Will Bowling. I am Brent Doherty. Buck Rising was in here yesterday. How did that go?
It went good with Buck, man. Like, we ain't going to give him too much credit on air. I told him to his face, though, too. I was like, Buck, you really do this. You good at it, man.
He really is. I mean, we give him a lot of crap, but
yeah,
that dude is so freaking talented.
Yeah, no doubt. He gets it and understands it, too, man. Say what you want to about him. He's a worker. He's a grinder. He fully gets
Well, let's not go that far because he didn't do his own show after he did this show. And I'm doing 3HL today.
7 hours a day.
Take that, Buck.
Yeah. One up. Look, don't ever let a person get a one up on you, right, Mayor? That's essentially what's happening to Buck Rising right now.
Certain things you can control.
But Lucas and Bert held it down for him, though.
There you go, and they will. Coming up speaking of 3HL, coming up today, 3:20, NASCAR driver Ryan Blaney will join us in studio. The big Nashville race coming up, the Cracker Barrel 400. Coming up this weekend, and man, they've got 3 days of racing. It's going to be fun, and we love having the NASCAR guys in. They're really interesting people. And this guy, Ryan Blaney, really, really talented, has one of the fastest cars, just hasn't been able to put it together to get in the winner's circle this year. But he's a guy that our guy, Todd Furman, that does sports handicapping, he always bets Ryan Blaney. So Ryan Blaney coming in today. Coach Mac presented by Two Rivers Ford at 4 o'clock. Todd Furman, the aforementioned Todd Furman at 4:20. Michigan, this is interesting. Ramon, Michigan Panthers offensive lineman in the UFL, Ryan Nelson, is the EA Sports motion capture actor for the video games.
What's his name?
His name is Ryan Nelson, and what he does is he does blocks, and they put all the dots on him and everything, and do the computer generated stuff, and then so if you see a pancake block in Madden.
It's his body making the movements is what you're telling me.
Isn't that crazy? How do you get asked to do that? He's also a high school teacher, this guy. So.
That guy's probably raking it in right now from EA Sports. If he's not getting 6 figures from them, something is wrong. I tell you that, because that's not an honor. That's work doing all those movements that he's doing. I hope at least he looks like a typical offensive line or something like an offensive line.
He plays in the UFL.
He plays in the UFL.
Yeah. So Babs put that together. That'll be interesting to get his story. And then we had Tony Vitello on yesterday.
Tony V was good.
And thank you. Yeah, he's incredible, and you can go any direction with him, and he's good to go.
He stood on it yesterday, man, with you guys. Answered some stuff that some would consider tough. So he really leaned into the idea. He understood where his team was as far as the season, but he also backed that up by saying he know how talented they are. So I'm really fascinated to see how Tony V is going to Tony V now, Savage likes to say from time to time, and I do too. But I'm really interested to see how he adjusts going into this tournament, man, especially being a host. It's going to be a fascinating approach to it.
We do have some audio from Tony Vitello that we'll play for you, and if you want to hear the conversation, even if you're not a Tennessee fan, you're going to like this. Yeah. You're going to be entertained by this. Slade did put him in the Boom Boom Room.
He did.
So you can, wherever you get your podcast, rate, review, subscribe, all of the shows on 104.5 The Zone. But if you want to find that Tony V thing, that's going to be good for you. 5:20 today, Vanderbilt baseball coach Tim Corbin. So yesterday,
Tim on.
Yeah, yesterday, Tony V. Today, Corbs will join us. Vanderbilt, the #1 overall seed. I wanted to ask you this.
I didn't realize they had done that well down the stretch.
So they had a players only meeting, And from that point on, I forget the record. It's like 26-4 or something since the players only meeting. Did you guys ever do that with the Steelers? And what kind of an impact would that have?
Man, those meetings are effective if everybody's buying into the ideas that you're all chasing. Football is a very complex sport in locker room, the way it operates at times, too, because there's so many different personalities, Mayor. There's so many different guys with their own agendas, and sometimes winning just doesn't do it for guys, to be quite honest with you. It is one of those situations where we've had those conversations and talked to guys about, hey, this is what we're doing, and guys get excited for the moment. That moment never leans itself over throughout the duration of the season. Like, there's been times where guys understood where we were as a team, but legitimately buying into the idea that you're trying to change your season one game at a time, some people don't have the capacity to think about more than just what's in front of them. And there was times where we didn't have one after we started 0-4. I think it was like 2012. But, like, the idea that, look, it's 1 week at a time, one win, like, you're still going to be 1-4. You're still going to be 2-4. Heck, you might even lose another game and get to 2-5. That's when you start to see guys who are mentally weak get crushed. And that's why sports is so unique, man, because when you got a like-minded room, and here's what I think is super unique about Vanderbilt, Vandy Boys, right? The baseball team is this. Baseball, the sport, is such a failure sport that when you have a players-only meeting, like, you understand how serious it is and how hard baseball is, so you need all hands on deck. And also this, too, understanding that the SEC is hard. And if you don't get your stuff together, you're going to get embarrassed. And I feel like the history that Vanderbilt has since Tim Corbin has been there, especially in the last decade and a half, those guys understand what their reputation is. And what you don't want to happen is what I feel like sometimes has happened to where the Titans are right now. When you start to lose that legacy, right, when people start talking about McNair and Chris Johnson, right, CJ2K and Eddie, when you start to lose that and you accept, I ain't saying you accept losing, but losing becomes a part of your current state, it's easy to lose a program that way. And I feel like those guys inside of that Vandy locker room, and the Vols too, don't want to lose the legacy that they've built up. If you know what I'm saying, like those player meetings happen when you have a legacy that you're chasing.
And you have to have strong leadership and also personality types that can take that, as you said.
That's the biggest part.
As you said. Vanderbilt hosting Wright State Friday at 5 o'clock.
It's not a pushover.
No. Question from Michael Spain, who is in the Tennessee regional. Tennessee actually pretty fortunate as the number 14 overall seed. They get 30 RPI Wake Forest, 33 RPI Cincinnati, and 80 RPI Miami of Ohio.
Yeah.
Tennessee plays Miami of Ohio Friday at 5 o'clock. 8 of the 16 regional hosts in college baseball are SEC teams. 13 of the 16 SEC teams are in regionals.
Wow.
13.
Who didn't make it? State?
Oh, they did make
Auburn
it.
State. Oh, Mississippi State made it?
They did.
I'm tripping. My bad, Mississippi
Auburn
State.
made it.
Auburn's
hosted.
Jeez.
I don't know who the 3 are. That's a good question.
South Carolina?
Somebody will
We'll
hit
have
us
to
with
look.
that.
Yeah, we'll figure
Somebody
that out
will
in
hit
a
us with
second. I should probably know that too.
615-737-1045. What else? Q, I bet Mayor knows. How long were Steve's naps before games? Steve McNair famously took naps before games, and a lot of people like to get ratcheted up. He liked to calm down. And so they would find a quiet place for him, like on away games and stuff like that. I don't know how long his naps were, but I do remember early on people were like, "Where's Steve? Where's Steve? Where's Steve?" Well, he takes naps for you.
Yeah. Some guys are different. I knew some guys that threw up before every game. So it depends.
I mean, Big John Henderson liked to headbutt walls.
I'm telling you, man. It is fascinating what guys do to get them going. And you know what? Nobody bats an eye at it either, Mary. Is that the thing you do? Okay, we'll leave you alone.
Michael on YouTube, you can watch the show again, YouTube, Facebook Live, Twitter, and Twitch. Michael says SEC dominating another sport, no surprise there. Also, the college softball World Series, 5 of the 8 teams are SEC teams.
Yeah. Shout out to the Lady Vols. They needed that one against Nebraska this past
weekend. Tough draw, though, man. They get Oklahoma. Like, they need to reseed.
Didn't they get Oklahoma this year? They won the series.
They won the series at Oklahoma this year. But college softball, so we talk about reseeding. There's a movement to reseed the NFL playoffs after round 1, which they should do. But here's an example in the college softball world. So number 2, Oklahoma, doesn't get the only unseeded team that's still left. They don't get them. They get 7 seed Tennessee.
Wow.
So they should get unseeded Ole Miss, but 12 seed Texas Tech gets unseeded Ole Miss, which doesn't make sense.
No, Texas Tech?
Yeah. 3 seed Florida doesn't get 16 seed Oregon. They get 6 seed Texas. It should be reseeded.
It should. That one
You should be rewarded.
By the
for
way,
it.
Texas Tech got a pitcher hitter on their team. I think she's got $1 million contract. She is a beast.
That's the newest billionaire is one of the Texas Tech boosters, so get ready.
Sold his oil company, right?
Sold his oil company, so get ready.
Yeah, I did read up on that.
615-737-1045. Again, NBA playoffs, Indiana beating New York 130-121. It goes back to Madison Square Garden for Game 5. Pacers can close it out. Dominant performance by Tyrese Halliburton, 33, 12, and 15. Just incredible. I ran into Dave Elliott, who is one of our sales managers here. He is a big Indiana Pacers fan. He said, dude, when Halliburton plays like that, you're not beating him. I'm like, well, if anybody plays like that, you're not beating him. That was a historic performance. No turnovers.
Yeah, none whatsoever. That was a beautiful game, though. The teams that didn't make it, Mayor. You ready for it?
Yeah, hit me.
Has to be Texas A&M, South Carolina, and Missouri. I know Missouri.
Okay.
Yeah, Missouri.
This is teams that did, the 3 teams out of 16 that did not make the college baseball tournament.
What's crazy is A&M was 30-26, but Schwarzenegger went to Texas also and took a lot of recruits with him.
That's right.
Players.
That's
he's
right.
at Texas, and they won the SEC regular season.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
615-737-1045 if you want in. I'm Brent Doherty filling in today with Ramon Foster. Having a good time. Hope you are having a great Wednesday morning. Johnny in the Borough next up. Johnny, what's up?
What up, Johnny?
Good morning, guys. Thanks for taking my call. Hey, about 10 years ago here in Nashville, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander played high school ball at Hamilton Heights in Chattanooga. They came to Nashville and they played Darius Garland. I think it was at Brentwood Academy. And that was absolutely, that gym was packed.
Yeah.
And what I'm trying to say is, what about this trade, the oops trade, when the Thunder traded for Gilgeous-Alexander and they got 5 first-round picks to get rid of Paul George? They got Gilgeous-Alexander, and they got, I think the guy's name's Dylan James that plays for him right now.
Yeah.
Jalen Williams, I think is his name.
Jalen Williams, yeah.
Stud, dogs. I mean, 5 first-round picks. They still get 2 more first-round picks from the Clippers for this trade. So what do you guys think about that? Y'all have a great day. Thank you so much. Big Savage, be good.
Yes, sir. You too.
Big Savage.
Yeah, man. That's what the NBA is, man. They do a bunch of future first round picks too that allow them to plan for the future and stuff like that, man. Again, Paul George, they're still feasting off of his trade. I never knew Paul George was that big of a player to mortgage that type of trade at the time. Like, I knew he was the guy, right? But since that trade, like, where has he been in the world of basketball to justify that many draft picks?
615-737-1045. Yeah, again, like if you're not into the NBA, watch tonight. Watch that guy, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander.
Yeah.
SGA. He's going to fill up the box sheet too. And you know he saw Halliburton's performance last night.
Yeah, but Ant-Man better show up though. Anthony Edwards,
right? 2
has
shots
to
in the
show
first
up.
half yesterday.
4 points.
Yeah.
4 points in the first half.
Let's get UB in here. Uncle Bob next up on
Uncle Bob.
Ramon and Will. Uncle Bob, what's up?
Good morning, guys. Thanks for taking the call. Boy, I like this arrangement. My 2 favorite at the same spot. Like I say, y'all do this every day.
Oh, Lord.
So just love it. Real quick, on the Black Eyed Peas, real question. Did you ever put a dime in the bowl for good luck?
People say to do that.
I never did.
I never
heard
did that either.
Yeah, I never heard that.
Yeah, that's an old thing. But anyway, I thought I'd throw that out there.
Thank you.
Appreciate y'all. Love y'all.
Appreciate it.
So the Black Eyed Peas, so the representation of New Year's meals.
New Year's Day.
Yeah,
eat
is
Black Eyed
you
Peas
eat
for
the
good luck.
It used to be you eat the Black Eyed Peas for the coins, and you ate the greens and cabbage for the cash, to bless the year.
There you go.
So I won't put a coin in it.
You put some cash in my greens, I'll get to town.
It might deteriorate.
We didn't get to J.C. Latham. Let's do that when we come back. Big Moan. J.C. Latham told Buzzing with the Boys he's dropped 20 to 25 pounds from 360 to like 340. He wants to be at 325 to 330. Yeah. Is that good? Is that too light? What do you think as a former offensive lineman? We'll do that next. If you want in, 615-737-1045. Ramon and Will, brewed up by Scooter's Coffee.
We love being part of the moments that matter. which is why we're announcing employee pricing for everyone. You pay what we pay. Employee pricing at Two Rivers Ford. Locally owned, American made.
It's Ramon Foster for the Wellness Institute of Nashville. Good people, what I'm going to tell you is important to your health and well-being, man. You got to reach out to my friends, my people at the Wellness Institute of Nashville. I got another appointment set up next week, man, just for maintenance is what I'm telling you, man. And it's because they're offering you right now the 47 deal, man, where you can get 47% off non-surgical spinal decompression, and it is huge, man. It's because Dr. Mitchell and Dr. Ashley won't give up on you. One of the best things about going to the Wellness Institute of Nashville, within 5 minutes, you'll be in the back being serviced by their doctors to make you better, man. Again, whether your body's taking a beating from the weight room, picking and lifting up kids, just everyday life, it could be genetic for all I know, man. But what I'm telling you is this: if you want to feel better about yourself and the way you feel and just do your day-to-day activities, you got to go to the Wellness Institute of Nashville. They have some of the top-of-the-line equipment, man, from their lasers to their spinal decompression machines to even their zero-gravity machines, where they'll lay you in and they'll lay you back, man. And it's by far one of the best things you can do for yourself. No pain into your legs, no more weakness, man, no more sleepless nights. Say goodbye to those disc bulges, herniations, and spinal stenosis. Go fix yourself, all right? And it is possible. Call today, the Wellness Institute of Nashville, at 615-246-5009 or go to painisbad.com.
Hey, it's Will Bowling for my friends at Lee Company. Hey, when it comes to ensuring clean air in your home, Lee Company delivers. Their award-winning team provides thorough whole home duct cleaning services that eliminate dust, debris, and other allergens from your HVAC system. The result? Improved air quality, enhanced system efficiency, and peace of mind. Even better, Lee Company's got a great offer for you as well. Lee Company is offering 10% off a whole home duct cleaning for a limited time. So why wait? Schedule online at leecompany.com. That's leecompany.com for their duct cleaning services, or you can give them a call, 615-567-1000. I love working with Lee Company because I love working with local businesses who get this community, and they've been trusted here in Middle Tennessee now for over 80 years. Give them a call, 615-567-1000, and get 10% off a whole home duct cleaning for a limited time. Online at leecompany.com. That's Lee Company, all you need.
Moan. Talk to him, Ronnie. Is that what he
Talk
said?
to him, Ronnie. I got a Houston solution, baby.
That's a Nashville dude for sure, Ronnie Millsap. Man, honored to be sitting here with you, brother. This has been a lot of fun. We'll be here until 10 o'clock. Ramon and Will, brewed up by Scooter's Coffee. He is Ramon Foster. I'm merely Brent Doherty, but I will be on 3HL today. So we've got a full day ahead on the zone. Just as I always say, like, old school DJ guy would say, lock it in and rip the knob off. No need to change the station. We got you covered. 104.5 The Zone. Let's talk about J.C. Latham. He was on with Buzzing with the Boys, and let's start with this. This is a cut from their podcast, and Will Compton and Taylor Lewan, great friends of all of us, and they do an incredible job. They've carved out a great podcast life for them. But they spent some time with J.C. Latham, who's going into his second year, moving from left tackle to right tackle, with Dan Moore coming in. But one of the things that kind of went around yesterday was Latham talking about the fact that he's dropped like 20 to 25 pounds. Did you see the picture that he put out?
Yeah.
He he's at 340, 342.
He looks like he's like 320, 315. Yeah, no doubt about it. He looks good.
Let's start with what he told them about managing weight.
Well, off the field, like my weight, honestly, I remember specifically.
What are you pushing right now?
Oh, well, now I'm 340. I'm good. Yeah. Like, well, I'm not going to say I'm good, but I want to get down like 325, 330. But then, cause I was 360 and they were like, hey, we want you to get down to 345. And honestly, I wouldn't say it's kind of cocky, but I kind of say just like coming from Bama, I remember Saban saying the same thing when I hit 360 and all the strength coaches were like, well, he put on 15 pounds of muscle. So it's like, you know what I mean? Like, he's going to be okay, you know, and then they saw how I was moving out there and Saban was like, okay, he's good, you know? So having the thumbs up approval from Saban, I was like, okay, I know how this is going to go. They're going to say I need to lose weight. As soon as they see how I move out here, they're going to say I'm good. And then after a while, I was like, you know what, like this is a different speed. So I definitely should lose weight. But I'm not going to say I was playing good, but I was playing like relatively like honestly good. Like, you know what I mean? So I was like thinking like, well, I don't think my weight's that much of an issue. And I literally remember thinking that like after we played the Chargers, like, cause I did a really good job in pass pro, and the only sacks that I remember, Bud Dupree had 2, and it was like off of like a late spin when Will tried to escape the pocket up. And, yeah, that's where his sacks came from. And I remember I was like, man, I just played Bosa and, you know, Bud Dupree, and, you know, I've been doing good up until this point. I don't think my weight's an issue. And like from there, it was really bad. So getting that weight under control for sure. Like,
isn't it crazy? Like the moment you feel like you're good in something, like you get humbled immediately.
Because I think shortly after that we played Houston, and I played Will Anderson and, you know, Daniil Hunter, and that's when I was like, yeah, I gotta lose all this weight. So that was, I mean, because it affected everything. Like, you know, my get off, my finishes down the field, whatever it might be, and like, you know, obviously we're in OTAs now, so we're watching the film from last year, and like everybody knows I lost weight, but we're just looking at that shit, kind of just like laughing, like what the fuck, like, you know, because it's just so blatant that I was too big.
That's really interesting. So number one, J.C. Latham is an exceptionally smart dude, like really smart guy.
Cerebral. You got to be if you're an offensive lineman. I just want to throw that out real quick.
Couple of questions. All right, so he had people along the way tell him 360 was too big.
Yep.
Then he understood it when he saw the competition level, right? So you've got to be able to move.
Yeah, you do. You better be able to.
So I think it's interesting, and Slay made this point. I think it was a good one. You don't know until you know. Mm-hmm. And so, like, coming in as a rookie, you're like, I got to be big.
Yeah, you do. Like, legitimately, that happens is I got to be big so I can hold my own. More than anything, if I can push bodies around, I'm going to be good. Yeah. And here's the other part, too. He got backed up by that.
Yeah.
He said, probably one of the hardest weight managers ever. And Coach Saban said, no, he's good. He's good at 360 because he added the muscle to it and he still moved well. But you also hear this, too. There's a difference. Like, there's a step-up level to it because he mentioned, like, Bud Dupree and Bosa, right? Those guys are smart. Those guys understand you. Those guys watch and break you down time and time again. You need to and you have to adjust at that point right there. So for him to acknowledge that, look, I was college good. That's why I always tell guys, like, you're college good. So you can get away with that in college because you're playing against 18, 19, 20-year-olds, right? And you're the big dog on your team. So you can get by, as they like to say. With your deficiencies at times, though, to be pointed out in the NFL. And I feel like that's what he had going against him. So here's the other part of it, though, too, Mayor, for me. I think your peers do it for you, too. You know, one of his main peers, Joe Alt. Joe Alt looked good coming out, right? Mm-hmm. His stance, his physique,
and
his
those guys
stature.
are compared.
They are very much.
They will always be compared.
They could have flip-flopped. JC could be in L.A. and Joe Alt could be here.
That's right.
We thought he was going to be here. We had Control Alt Delete, but never mind. We're moving on. But the other side of it, though, too, Mayor, he played 1,087 offensive snaps last year. I think it was 1,095 in general. Or I think because of special teams, whatever. Here's the other caveat as to why his weight at his position at tackle, because you mentioned it before we got on air. You got to be an athletic build to play that position or good enough with your footwork that helps you out. At that point, he'd already played 3 preseason games. During that portion of the season, it was already NFL Week 11, but it was Game 10 for the Titans. So he's already played 14 games. So you have that part of it, too. On top of at that point, you still had 8 games remaining. He'd hit his college wall, and JC somewhat acknowledged that.
I love that you said that. That was part of that, I guess, like a realization.
It was a realization. And also, too, he mentioned that I'm looking at his PFF grade, dog. And you're right. Against Minnesota was the home game. And you remember, I'm not sure if you was in the stadium that game, but that Minnesota game was embarrassing. I loved it if we can get to it, or we'll probably end up talking about this interview throughout the duration of the week. But if you look, if I distinctly remember the Minnesota game, because, Mayor, the bottom bowl was full of the purple people eaters at that point.
Yeah.
And if you were losing the way the Titans lost last year, and you heard, I don't even know what the Skull, I think is the name of their chant that they do, Skull, whatever they do.
Yeah, that's it. They stole that from a soccer team or something. Wasn't it like Iceland?
Yeah, I think so.
Or something? Yeah, I don't know.
But what's fascinating is that could have been a breaking point for not just him, but a lot of players on the team. And if you look at that next week, whenever they had to go to Houston, his pass blocking, so he went from an 87.2 grade from PFF to an 80.8 against Minnesota.
I love that you're giving PFF grades for offensive linemen because you love it so much. But
people like to justify. I like to give.
It's a good explanation.
It backs up what JC said, though.
That's right. That's right.
That Houston week, you know what his PFF pass block grade was?
And this is against Daniil Hunter, and he mentioned and Will Anderson. He mentioned them.
But it was also his eye-opener, too.
Yeah.
29.2.
There's a reason why he mentioned those two guys, because he knows that.
He knows that. But it backs up what PFF was grading. But what I'm saying is this, though. The speed is different. And not just the speed is different, but you got to be able to manage or maximize your strengths and minimize your weaknesses. For a guy like him that faced these demons at defensive end that are running 4.4s, what was Will Anderson? Heck, probably no higher than a 4.4. You know, he might be a 4.51.
Yep.
And then you got Daniil Hunter, who's not only big, but he's powerful, too.
That's right.
Your ability to move in space. That's why Coach Tomlin, every single year, like, guys might have size on our team, but you know the main thing that he would say? And this is his one message that was consistent every single year I was into the league. He said, man, physical conditioning precedes anything else. Whatever your plan weight is, you get there. And make sure that your legs are in place to where by the time we get to the fourth quarter, the second half of this team, when it gets cold, when the days get a little bit shorter and it's dark outside, we need to be able to beat up on people on the other side of the ball because physical conditioning precedes anything else. You can lift a house. J.C. Latham said he had 15, 20 pounds of muscle, no problem. Guess what it does for you in the NFL, Mayor? Nothing. If you can't be well-conditioned, nothing matters.
So we were in New Orleans for the Super Bowl at Radio Row, and we talked with Ross Tucker and Brian Baldinger 2 different times, right? Mm-hmm. And offensive line guys. And this is why I want to run. I've been waiting to run this by you. But and we've talked about it a little bit, but they said the way the left tackle position is in the NFL now, both of them said this independently of each other, but you've got to be a slider. Like, you've got to be athletic. Yeah. And they both said that J.C. Latham is built to be a right tackle, that he is a mauler. He's a bear on 2 legs. Yeah. He's a really physical guy, and usually those guys now in the NFL are on the right side. So I think it's interesting that they said he's at left tackle because that's their best option at left tackle. So they bring in a left tackle, they move him to right tackle. Those guys think they're better immediately. Yeah. Just with that move, and they got better at both positions, they think. So dropping weight at right tackle, I'm curious from your position perspective as a former NFL offensive lineman, how much did you pay attention
to wait.
And you were an interior guy, so you need to be a little bigger,
absolutely.
right?
Absolutely. And it was allowed there because the space is limited at that point. And also playing against defensive linemen, as long as you can keep them in the box, like guys had to make decisions when going against me. Am I going to try to run through him or am I going to try to run around him? And they tried to run around me, but the thing was my footwork was good and my arms was long. I can just reach out and touch you. And I would tell guys, let's dance, right? But me playing tackle at my playing weight at like 340, 345, that wasn't going to be my thing. Yeah. Like my speed wasn't my thing either. You look at my 40 time, but like it wasn't my thing. But it's the idea that look, you knew I was an athlete that can pass, protect, and that could run block. It was a matter of fitting you into the right position. That's why when I see guys sometimes with funky footwork, I'm always trying to turn a guy that I know like. And people, you always trying to turn somebody into a guard. Like, yes, because his footwork doesn't allow him to be an NFL tackle. And you can see that sometimes. Like, J.C. Latham is a very good athlete. He's built very well, too, and he's got a lot of good weight on him. But him dropping this 15 to 20 pounds that he did this year is only going to make him better. And now here's the other part, though, too. He's still holding. He said 340. So it's not like you got to worry about him getting bulldozed or pushed around or anything like that.
And that's where I wanted to go. So he wants to get to 325, 330. Is that too late? Do you think?
Well, I'll tell you, this is easy to add. So if it is too light, but I don't think so because I think the basis of all things that J.C. Latham is his strength. Like, you'll see that no matter what. I know some guys that played center that were like 290. I knew some tackles, man, that will hold 310, 305. Man, weight can be an issue for you if you allow it to be good or bad. Like, here's the other part, too. Like, in that world, the NFL world, I think in basketball, too. Mm-hmm. Like, until it starts to affect you, coaches will allow it. Because the other part of it is, we're speaking about like bigs that got to deal with weight. Well, there's also the DBs and wide receiver that deal with the exact same thing. We're looking at Emmanuel Forbes right now, the former first-round draft pick for the Washington Commanders. He's going viral on social media because he's too thin, people think. You know, like we had to have the conversation that was about Devontae Smith and his ability to keep weight on and at it. Hadn't been an issue for him because he's making plays. But DBs throughout the duration of the season will tend to lose weight, so they're not good in the run support that they're supposed to give. Or wide receivers will also drop weight too, and they can't get off the line of scrimmage or have the endurance that you need them to have because they lose muscle mass and stuff. So this is a unique process, man. That's why some teams, Pittsburgh didn't really find like that, but some teams will dock you like $500, $800 a pound, up or down. If you're below where you're supposed to be, $800 a pound. I think the max is like $1,500 a pound.
$800 a pound.
$1,500 a pound.
Ooh.
Yeah. I've heard of some teams being like that strenuous about it to where if you are up or down, they're going to dock you per pound. I think the max is up to $1,500 a pound. So it's unique. But for JC, this is a very good thing for him.
For him to have this thought and to go through it because it's hard work, right? To drop those LBs.
Yeah.
I think tells you that he felt like he was getting run around and that was like, if you do some self-evaluation, not a lot of players do that, but if you do some self-evaluation, maybe his thought was, that was my weakness, I'm going to fix that.
Yeah, and he has to. It's just being smart is what it is though too, man. Everybody has to make an adjustment either through your footwork, through your conditioning, or through your weight. And his had to be the number. Like, and the one thing I thought it was cool with him is what a lot of bigs deal with. Well, I'm fine. And that's what he said time and time again as it pertains to where he played at in college and what he came in the NFL, until you believe like, okay, what am I going to do? Is this going to be like a 3-4 year thing for me, or am I trying to be legendary? And that's when you make those adjustments. So it's good for him. But it also sometimes being uncomfortable is the best place to be. And it seems to me JC got uncomfortable this offseason.
Be comfortable with the uncomfortable.
I'm telling you, be very comfortable with being
especially in that world. I mean, if you can't be coached, you have to be coached. You have to take advice from other people. You have to listen to veterans. You have to listen to coaches, and you can't think you know everything.
Because here's the other thing.
Which is one of the things that I was told by someone that I would trust about Will Levis, that he needs some maturity level, that he doesn't know everything.
Yeah. But here's the other part, because most of these coaches, and it may take time, but you got to be good enough to stay around to actually show that improvement.
Like a Sam Darnold. It took him 6 years to have that season.
100%.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And the other part is these coaches, most of them have been in the league long enough or played long enough where they've seen you before. They've seen a version of yourself before, and they're trying to tell you how to better yourself from the old person that they saw, that had the same situations or complications that you did. There's nothing new under the sun, I feel like, in the NFL. We've seen a Travis Hunter before. Like, we've seen an Ashton Genty before. We've seen a Cam Ward before, So it's on those players to somewhat buy into the ideas that these coaches that have a whole lot of history in this league are trying to feed them. Again, it is a mental warfare, Mayor, to make it through like year after year and be consistent in this league. And sometimes guys get it, and I'll be honest with you, most times players don't, man.
How much is it going to help J.C. Latham to have a 14-year vet next to him, Kevin Zeitler, coming in to play right guard?
All mental for him.
Yeah.
It's so much.
But, I mean, can you actually take the time to have little bits of conversations during games like, hey, watch this? Like, hey,
easily.
You can?
And the other part is it for Zeitler and JC is this, though, too, is I almost feel like they're lending Mr. Miyagi, Zeitler, to him so that at some point, JC is going to have to do the same thing to his new right guard at some point. So this is a teacher teaching the student and the student becoming the teacher later down the line. This is how you build up a culture. This is how you build up a baseline into how your guys grow. I had somebody, I do my Pittsburgh podcast, the Ramon Foster Show, every Wednesday, right? And I had somebody ask that question, well, how long is it going to take Pittsburgh's offensive line to gel? I said, it's 3 to 4 years. And it was like, God, that long? I'm like, yes. Because if you look at the way the Titans offensive line is built right now, let's start with Peter. Peter, right?
Yeah.
Then you go get Cush, and then you go get JC. We're only 3 years into this thing at this point. And then you're going to have to go you got Dan to come in also this year. So now you're going to have to look at it and say, you got 4 of your 5, you think, for the next few years. And then there's another reshifting and teaching at the right guard position at some point in time. Zeitler's in 14 years, you say, this year? You're going to have to get a new guy at some point, too. And that's when you build up that line through a whole year. So I'll be quite honest with you. Potentially 2 years from now is when you see the payoff from this.
They should be better this year, though.
They should be better
with the moves that they've
You'd
made.
hope next year is a big year for them.
You really need Cushenberry to be okay off that Achilles. And big guys coming off Achilles make me nervous. But, that's another veteran presence there. So we'll see. When we come back, J.C. Latham also talking with the boys about playing on a bad team for the first time. I think this is really interesting. Jayhawk pulled that for us. Wednesday edition of Ramon and Will. I'm Brent Doherty. Coming up a little bit later, Jim Irsay with an incredible sports collection. Moan has more on that. Terry Bradshaw goes in on Aaron Rodgers' Steelers situation. Colin Cowherd loves Cam Ward and what he means for the Titans. All that coming up. Plus, Rhett Bryan at 9 a.m. We've got a busy show for you. Hope you're having a great Wednesday morning. We're here for you. This is Ramon and Will, brewed up by Scooter's Coffee. I almost feel bad talking over this groove.
It's good stuff, though.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Just let it simmer.
Billie Jean, man.
Not my lover. 3 HL coming up at 3 o'clock today. We've got a busy show lined up for you. NASCAR driver Ryan Blaney at 3:20. Coach Mack, Todd Furman. Michigan Panthers offensive lineman in the UFL. Ryan Nelson is the EA Sports motion capture actor for EA Sports. We're talking with him about that. And Vanderbilt baseball coach Tim Corbin coming up. You will hear from Tony Vitello. We had on the show yesterday. I want to hit Savage up with that a little bit. Tony Vitello with the 2 big wins in the SEC tournament. Then they get housed by Vanderbilt. Yeah. So did they get their groove back? Stella got it back.
Yeah.
Did Tennessee
100%.
baseball get it back?
Listen, according to Ron Slay, man, he let it be known that they suck right now. So they need to turn it around instead of getting slandered like that. But I'm with Savage, man. Let's do something.
Midweek motivation coming up at the toward the end of the show.
But I got Inky Johnson, man. It's a family member at this point.
Your chance to win Sounds tickets coming up at 8 o'clock. So stay tuned for that. Nashville Sounds Winning Wednesday happening. This is the Wednesday edition of Ramon and Will, brewed up by Scooters Coffee. Appreciate you guys that are watching on Zone TV, YouTube, Facebook Live, Twitter, Twitch. A lot of people watching on YouTube. Appreciate that. Savage is in the chat now.
Yeah, he is.
Big Slay.
Big Slay. Savage Dog is in here, man.
So we were told to kind of do this day by day with Will bowling on vacation. And, some people coming in here to hang out with Big Savage, Ramon Foster.
Yeah.
But Buck Rising did what he does. He let everything out of the bag.
He did.
And so
I almost feel like he leaned into it, too.
He leaned into everything. Okay. But so the difference here is he did not host his show. I will be with my teammates at 3 o'clock. So
take that.
Yeah. But Buck will be in today. And as you mentioned, Bert and Lucas did a great job.
They did. Those two, man, are a tag team, man.
Tag team back again. Tomorrow, Babsy will be here.
Big Babs.
Babsy and Ramon Foster in studio tomorrow, 6 to 10. And then on Friday,
Savage Radio.
That's
what the people want, to be quite honest with you.
And Ramon Foster on Friday. That's going to be great. Q Mayor, I don't know if people know your reference about Stella. That is kind of an old film, but it's good. Listen, I throw so many references out there that I know like people don't get a lot of them. That's okay.
But that's why they also tune in and get informed to go learn something.
Well, but some people do get them, and either way, I just keep moving. So whether you get them, you get them. If you don't, you don't. It doesn't change my life. But I'm here for the people. I'm here for you guys.
Always is.
Let's listen in to a little bit more. J.C. Latham on Bussin' with the Boys, and a really interesting conversation. We talked about him managing his weight. He understood when he was 360 at Alabama. Nick Saban said something to him about that, and the strength and conditioning guys went to Saban and said, look, man, he put on muscle.
Yeah.
And so Saban was like, okay, I'm good.
And then he saw him, he said, and Saban said he was fine. So he played at 360.
So he gets to the NFL. He understood – he kind of had to come to Jesus and understood that guys were kind of running around him, and he knew that he needed to drop some LB. So I like how you tied into kind of a moment of clarity where you hit the college wall.
Yeah, he hit the college wall. He was 14 games in.
But also understood, and he pointed out the Houston Texans game where Daniil Hunter and Will Anderson each had 2 sacks in that game.
They got busy.
And that's when he kind of knew. So he dropped LB's. He looks incredible at 340, and 342 I think is what he's officially listed at right now. He said he wants to get to 325, 330. You're good with that?
Yeah, I am good with that.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's about look and feel, too. Like you said, that number's the number that you want to get to.
Maybe he gets to a point where he understands, hey, I went a little too far. Let me put some more on.
I've seen that happen, too. Yeah, 100%. I've seen skilled players like, okay, I got too small. Put it back on. It's a wear and tear league in the NFL, man. You got to have that base underneath you, though.
I always wonder about guys that come from successful programs to a bad football team. Yeah. J.C. Latham did that coming from Alabama, right, to Tennessee. It's funny, Ryan Williams, the wide receiver for Alabama, said the other day, he said, this program had not won fewer than 10 games since I've been alive, and they won 9 last year.
Yeah.
And so you know what that's telling you about the mindset that's going on in that room as we go toward 2026. But J.C. Latham talked about that, playing on a bad team for the first time in his life.
the shock hit me week 4 because we got our bye week 5.
Shock.
Yeah, and I remember we were 0-3, and last time I was 0-3 was like elementary school. So I was 0-3, and I told everybody we had to have an offensive meeting. So I told D Hop and Red and all the other guys to get their guys together. Let's have a offensive unit meeting so we can really set a standard for ourselves because 0-3 isn't what we thought. And honestly, it wasn't guys were not caring or whatever the case may be. We had a lot of mental issues and errors that we needed to correct. But guys were coming in early to work on the jug machine and staying late to do everything. So it was the talent and what we needed to do was there, but just the mental issues, the penalties and lining up in the wrong place or not executing the right assignment. But the effort, honestly, like I said, nobody could have imagined we'd be 0-3 from our group because it wasn't we were doing the wrong things. You wouldn't hear much about guys getting in trouble. We held each other accountable. So, we were trying to figure out what was going wrong. And then, D Hop was hey, we need to start bonding more. You know what I mean? We got to do things more, together. And we won week 4. So I remember telling myself, I was I got to mentally go back and figure out what I'm doing wrong and correct and all that stuff.
Wow. That's really interesting to me. So let me start here, Savage. Yeah. The line for error is so thin in the NFL, right? Yeah. What was their record in one-score games? 2-6?
Yeah.
Something like that. Uh-huh. So if you turned that around through some of the things he was talking about, and I thought, again, moment of clarity, right? Mm-hmm. We thought we were doing things well. It was just little mistakes here and there. And the line is so thin in the NFL that when you make those mistakes, I also think he was talking about the quarterback without talking about the quarterback. What did you take from that?
I took exactly what he said. We talked about it earlier. You can have that players meeting all you want to and trying to get stuff together, but guys have to be locked into the idea that this is harder than you think it is. You know what I'm saying? It's not just meeting and saying we're going to do stuff. Like you said, guys were. He was it wasn't guys were, just bad and getting arrested. I'm thinking to myself, JC, that's the last thing NFL players want to do is get arrested. This is on the field stuff. And it sounds like execution. It sounds just detailed. It sounds like you said, Mayor, the smallest just area for mistakes were allowed on this team, and it caused you to lose football games. So it's fascinating that they wanted to take that approach, and most teams do. But I'm sure to be quite honest with you, I'm sure a lot of vets on the team is what in the hell a young player talking about? We ain't got time for this right now. We got a long, because the first thing you'll say, we got a long season. And that's seeking comfort, but there's a lot of guys that seek comfort. I have a saying you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. Mayor, but you can drown them. JC got to start drowning guys this year and start making them fall in line. And I do think that's why Callahan is doing this 18 thing that he's doing to keep players accountable.
Let's talk about that when we come back. And Calvin Ridley said everything is different in this OTA session. So why is that? What is that? D-Hop mentioned, hey, man, we got to bond more. And that's been kind of a theme, as you just mentioned, this offseason. Let's talk about that when we come back. Also, your chance to win Sounds tickets next. Nashville Sounds Winning Wednesday. This is Ramon and Will, brewed up by Scooter's Coffee.
It's Ramon Foster for Secure Lawn, man. I'm getting ready to talk to you guys out there. You know who you are. You're the ones who just like me. You walk around your yard getting mad. Yes, and I mean mad when you see weeds around your yard. I saw one popped up the other day, man. I took a torch to it just so you guys know. But that's neither here nor there. That's neither here nor there. I've heard that's the best economic way to do it sometimes. But you obsessively care about your grass, and your spouse and your friends tell you talk about your grass more than anything else. And that's because you want to be the envy of your neighborhood just like me, man. My guy John came by yesterday and cut it, and it looks amazing. That's thanks to him and thanks to Secure Lawn because they are good at it. Listen, if you want a company that's going to be around for a long time, that you can count on, that wants to provide a prime service to you and have your grass being the best in the neighborhood, then you need to reach out to Secure Lawn. They're not interested in a bunch of sales. No way. Their business model includes never giving their customers a reason to leave. And that means putting the right fertilizer down, applying crabgrass, and some broadleaf weed control to your lawn, and they are the best to do it. Again, been here in Middle Tennessee for over 20 years. They're family owned and operated and local, punctual with a very quick response time, and everything they use is pet, kid, and environmentally friendly. So you don't have to worry about dangerous chemicals hurting your family at all. And it protects all town grass too, and serve as residential, commercial, and even athletic fields. So if you want to go ahead and get a head start on and start planning for a better lawn, call my people at 615-893-8455 or go to securelawn.com.
It is 8:04 from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. Good morning. I am Justin Hawkins. The Tennessee Titans on the practice field today as Phase 3 of OTAs continue, and they're open to the media at 11 a.m. this morning. Head coach Brian Callahan is scheduled to meet with the media before practice at 10:15. Special teams coordinator John Bones Fossil, offensive coordinator Nick Holtz, and defensive coordinator Denard Wilson are all scheduled to meet with the media after practice at 1:15 this afternoon. Tonight, Nashville SC takes on Columbus Crew at 7 p.m. Nashville is closing out their 3-game road trip in Columbus, and they're also looking to extend their undefeated streak to 8 games tonight. You can hear it right here on 104.5 The Zone with pregame at 6:30. Conference finals tonight in the NBA. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and the Oklahoma City Thunder host Anthony Edwards and the Minnesota Timberwolves for Game 5. OKC is trying to secure the series up 3-1 and make the NBA Finals for the first time since 2012. Tip-off at 7:30 on ESPN in OKC. In the NHL, the Florida Panthers face off against the Carolina Hurricanes for Game 5, and they lead the series 3-1. Florida is looking for the third straight Stanley Cup Finals appearance and become back-to-back champs for the first time since Tampa Bay did it back in 2020 and 21. Puck drop tonight at 7 p.m. on TNT in Raleigh. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you've got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Wednesday edition of Ramon and Will. I'm Brent Doherty filling in for Will Bowling today, one of the hosts of 3HL, heard weekdays from 3 until 6 on 104.5 The Zone. We'll be here until 10 o'clock. Holler at us. Ramon and Will, brewed up by Scooter's Coffee, 615-737-1045. Talking a lot of Titans football the last hour.
Absolutely.
And for good reason. 20 NFL teams hit Phase 3 yesterday, which is basically just ramping things up. And you can do 7-on-7, 9-on-7, 11-on-11. So there are competitive situations. You walk through how you can get away with non-contact, contact, involuntary, voluntary. These are voluntary.
Yeah, they are
sessions.
voluntary. Most times, if guys need a day off, like if it's for something family related, they'll give it to you. Like, I mean, you don't have to ask for it.
Yeah.
But let's just say they'll notice if you're gone. Yeah. If you know what I mean.
They probably would prefer you to communicate with them at least. Yeah. Like, hey, I'm going to be out here just from an organizational standpoint of what they're trying to get done, because everything is so meticulously planned out.
Yeah, it is. And
in terms of what they do every day.
And this is where that team bonding, that cohesion, the small minutia of becoming a team turns into it, because it is a little bit more relaxed. You get an opportunity to meet the rookies and stuff like that, figure out what they are before training camp. Like, this is the learning phase, Mayor, and it's kind of fun until you become an older vet and you say, you know what, I won't remember your name until you make the team. So I'll see you in camp.
Well, I'm having a blast sitting in with you, and I knew it would be fun, and we've had a great time. Hopefully, it's been a great time for you guys. We still have a long way to go this morning. Hope you're having a great Wednesday morning. You're over the hump almost. It is Winning Wednesday with 104.5 The Zone and the Nashville Sounds. Be caller number 5 to win 2 tickets to see the Sounds host Gwinnett next Wednesday at First Horizon Park. Jayhawk will take your call and get you set up. Break out your finest pair of blue jeans and let's go boot scooting as we get ready to kick off CMA Fest. Enjoy a night filled with country music, country legends, and your favorite baseball team. All Sounds fans win on Wednesdays, and if the Sounds win the game, the fans get to round the bases of First Horizon Park. Wednesdays this summer are all about winning, and the Nashville Sounds are ready to adorn all of their fans with prizes at First Horizon Park. Get ready for a giveaway item every Wednesday all season long. NashvilleSounds.com. Are you a boot guy? Like, do you have a pair of boots?
I've been debating on getting a pair.
I heard about that.
Yeah, I've been debating. I got a hat. My wife got me a hat that I have.
You have a cowboy hat?
I do have a cowboy hat.
Do you wear the cowboy hat?
I hadn't worn it yet. It does have a Tennessee T on it, so I'm going to wear it this fall in the booth at some point in time.
I got you.
But yeah, I've been debating on some boots, Mayor. And it's one, I'm not getting a $10,000 pair. Okay, boots are expensive.
So my co-host, and I love her like a sister, Dawn Davenport. Babsy has a pair of cowboy boots that are about $1,000. She also has like $1,000 hat that she has now worn twice. So that's $500 a wear.
No.
She wore it to steeple. She got it for the Kentucky Derby.
A stack though? 1,000?
1,000
for an event?
for the Kentucky Derby. So then
Babs, an NFL player?
and then she wore it to steeplechase. So every time she wears it, it knocks off like how much it actually costs to me.
Yeah,
this is how I justify things in my head.
Well, no, I look at it totally different.
So
like,
if she wears it 4 times, that's $250 per, right?
Yeah, I get that,
and not $1,000.
I get that.
Okay,
but the way I look at it is if it's of that value, then it's got to be of high quality. So here's the other part though too, that Babsy is in a different world because the ones that know Mayor understand it. That's $1,000 hat and some $1,000 boots she got on. See me, I wouldn't recognize it because I'm not familiar like that. But it's just like wearing you wear like an iced out Rolex, right?
Yeah.
Like iced out watch. Everybody, look at that. But you wear a plain Jane one. The ones that know will be like, okay, I see what you're doing over there.
You can wear a Rolex without getting the iced out version.
You shouldn't get it iced out.
Yeah.
I just want to throw that out there right now.
Yeah.
It takes away from the true value of it, like you're drilling into the gold and platinum and stuff.
Here's the thing about Babsy.
Talk to me about Babsy because this prefers me for tomorrow. Okay?
Well, Tupac said it best.
What'd he say?
If you got it, better flaunt it. Right?
You know the issue with that though?
And that leads me to me and you, two of America's most wanted.
I miss Tupac Tuesdays, but we here now though, okay? I did hear y'all jamming yesterday. But here's the other part though too. If you got it and flown it, well, why won't she bring her ventriloquist stuff onto the station?
I know. That is a great point. She did do the ventriloquism on air one day, though. Finally got her to do it. She's been on 3HL almost 8 years.
She's sandbagging.
That's unbelievable to me. So, 3HL started January 2010. So she's been almost half of its existence now.
Yeah, she's cemented. She's
cemented.
Put a jersey up in the rafters.
So, bonding. That was one of the things J.C. Latham talked about going to a bad team, okay, for the first time in his life. And he said, it shocked him when they started 0-3, and it shocked a lot of guys. Because you don't put all that work in the offseason to think, hey, man, maybe we're not that good. You don't think that way.
You don't train to lose.
Right. And so when they start 0-3, that comes as a shock to anybody. And no matter what people are saying about your team going into the season, everybody could be like, oh, they suck, they're going to be bad, blah, blah, blah. But
internally, you don't never heck, we're
you don't
in the
think
Super Bowl
that way.
every year. No, absolutely not.
So when he said they got to 0-3 and he was like, damn, what are we doing? We're putting the work in. I'm doing me. And he started to talk about the little things. And it's such a thin line between a level of success and not in the NFL. I'm not going to use the word failure, right? I don't talk about things like that. I talk about challenges, but because we all have them.
Yeah.
But I thought it was interesting that he said that, and then he said that D-Hop said, "Well, we need to bond more."
Yeah.
And that's been a theme this offseason. How important is that?
It's very important because the game is more than just on the field. You got to be able to learn your teammates and know them and know what they're about, too, because sometimes you can talk to teammates and be like, yeah, that guy's super selfish. He's going to choose himself before choosing a team. And sometimes that's probably not wrong on bad teams because if you're trying to preserve yourself, then guess what you're going to do? You're going to look out for yourself, and that makes the team worse. But it's about, Mayor, being able to non-communicate with your guys all across from you. It's also to understand that, look, you're fighting for more than just wins on this field. You're fighting because you got 3 kids at home, or hey, your mom has an issue going on, or hey, your dad, man, was your coach all your life and he's pressured. There's a lot of those things that go into, and when you start to understand people, the more you're willing to pour into them. One of the cool stories was, you guys know I played with Alejandro Villanueva. He's an Army Ranger. Right?
Incredible play.
Incredible story. So what we do is we used to call it porch talk. Savages sat in on these moments. Mm-hmm. And that Alejandro served, gave his all, was on the front line in a lot of different ways. Dude stands 6'8", 6'9", okay? He was actually in the field, jumping out of airplanes and all that type of stuff. My respect and admiration for him went up when we used to have those porch talk sessions, and he'd tell us about his missions. About how they were in a village and they had his translator in front of them, and fire opens up. And how graphic can we go? and
you know what's interesting about what you're saying is so many people that serve up at Fort Campbell listen to the Zone.
Yeah.
And I think they appreciate you going down this path.
But it was hearing him speak, because you hear somebody who's like, oh, yeah, using Army, whatever. But
a lot of those guys won't talk.
No, they won't. But
about that
what
stuff.
I found out in our porch talk sessions, well, we used to call it porch talk. We get food, man, sit back, rookies bring stuff through. We sit there, have a good time, have a couple of stogies or something like that, man. And Al told us one of his missions was like, they were in a village and a translator, because you go over there with the translator, they pretty much know the region and tell you all those types of things. Like, they know what's going on. They heard that somebody was terrorizing a mosque, right? That they were just in there going bananas. And he said the translator never really asked for anything and said that they were just very adamant on this. And Al was like, we can't. And so he finally gave in, and they went to this village. So they're walking. Said the translator is usually in front of the people that are the locals in front of him, and said he's standing behind them. And it just lets you know what people go through and how you sell out for them. And said that as they're walking, he heard and said bullet went through his translator's head. Came back on him, and they set back and retreated, threw grenades, fired back. Said they was like 3-4 hours in before he got help. You know, before their unit got help and were, you know, pretty much rescued at the time. But then you hear somebody say, I served, and then they're playing NFL football. You look over until you realize that bullet could have been for him. And then you understand, oh, you're more than just a football player.
Doesn't have a name on it.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you're more than just a football player. You gave your all, and this is something that you're trying to give your all to also. And it changed my perspective on him. It changed my perspective on the ones that served, and also for the duality of him being able to be a Ranger and also go in and play in the NFL was by far one of that's what you learn when you have moments like this, and you do more than just practice and go home. And it wasn't just him. It was stories that Marcus Gilbert would tell, or Ben would tell, or D'Angelo Williams, or, you know, hearing James Conner tell us about his cancer situation. The running backs would come over too. And he'd tell us, like, I was dead. Like, I pretty much was on the bed and I was about to die until a doctor came in and said, hey, what about this treatment? Like, that was his last resort before.
So people share life experience, and that brings you closer together.
Oh my gosh!
Whereas a lot of you know, team settings, like, people come in, they do their job, they go about their way. And it's been interesting to hear Calvin Ridley talk about how different OTAs are this year, because you have a coaching staff that clearly self-evaluated year one. And now is making changes. And so I think as time goes by, we'll hear more and more about how different the OTAs are. But that's been one of the things. And you mentioned, you know, the 8-player teams, and they're having competitive situations. That's got to be helpful, right?
It does. And it may seem cheesy, but guess what? They thought what the offensive line was doing on Thursdays was cheesy until the DBs started coming. The wide receivers started. The quarterback showed up. The running backs, D linemen started doing their own thing. So now you got this team camaraderie happening at different phases throughout your team, or different areas throughout your team, and it just brings you closer. It makes it really feel like it's a band of brothers more than anything, instead of just, hey, I'm just here to get paid. Like, it's more than money sometimes, you know? And that's where you got to start to break down. Are you here for the check? Or are you here for championships?
I think that's really interesting. And while we're on that, shout out to all y'all at the 101st, man. Especially, you know, so many that have given their life to protect our freedom. And certainly we're First Amendment guys doing what we do. And so we wouldn't be able to do what we do without the freedom presented by this country and the people that have given their lives for that. So shout out 101st and anyone that has served. When we come back, I want to get your take on a couple of things that Tony Vitello said to us yesterday, and talking about teams and challenges that coaches have each year, because every team is different, right? And just kind of looking at what Tennessee has been trying to do, because they lost 5 series in a row going into the SEC tournament. They've had defensive issues. I want to get your take on a couple of those things when we come back. Appreciate y'all for hanging out with us this morning. We'll be here until 10 o'clock again. Coming up at 9 o'clock, Rhett Bryan will be with us, and we'll talk more about the Titans. We also will hit Colin Cowherd, who loves Cam Ward. He had some interesting things to say about that and about what Cam Ward means for the Titans. Also, Terry Bradshaw going in on the Aaron Rodgers Steelers situation. We've got all that coming up. Stay tuned. This is Ramon and Will, brewed up by Scooter's Coffee. Wednesday edition of Ramon and Will, brewed up by Scooter's Coffee. I'm Brent Doherty, filling in today. Buck Rising filled in yesterday. Babsy Davenport, I've been in communication with her about tomorrow. She will be filling in with you tomorrow. That'll be fun. And you guys can compare your cowboy boots and hats. Mm-hmm. I can see you with some boots, man. I can see it.
I just got to make sure I get the right pair. I don't want to buy a pair and not be able to be versatile in them. You know what I'm saying? Like, Bert, I need to bring Bert in here.
How versatile do you want to be? Like, what do you want to do with these boots?
I don't want the made for walking is first thing, okay?
That's right, and kicking ass.
But I don't want like the black and white, like rattlesnake ones. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, you
where you're
like,
trying too hard a little bit?
Yeah, where you trying too hard.
No disrespect to rattlesnake boot guy. No disrespect there.
But you see him, you just like, yeah, you must be from out of town, huh? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, that conversation.
Some of the hats
I do want a nice brown pair.
Yeah.
But I got to figure out what they are. I've gone to Tecovas plenty of time.
Yeah.
I've gone to Tecovas, the website, numerous times.
There's a Tecovas about a half a mile from us.
Is it really?
Mm-hmm. Over there at 5th and Broadway.
It sounds like I need to start boot scooting.
And boogieing. Split happens, and it will happen. 104.5 The Zone, bringing back our Split Happens Bowling Bash with special guests and listeners on Thursday, June 26th at King's Dining and Entertainment at Cool Springs. Join us for a fun night of bowling with food, drinks, prizes, and more, all to help benefit Home Street Home. My man, Stephen Young, does a great job with that organization. They get guys and gals off the streets. They do an incredible work. Search them out. Stephen lived on the street, so he knows, like, he can go into these communities and say, hey, I've been here. I know how challenging this is to make that decision to leave the comfort. I know this sounds weird, but to leave the comfort of the street.
Yeah.
Because it's scary. You know, it's a scary thing, but he's been there and done that and does a great job with that organization. Admission is free. RSVP now at 1045thezone.com. Again, search out Home Street Home. Stephen Young and his crew doing a great job.
By the way.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I went to Tecovas right quick.
Oh, look at you. That
quick. I did it, and I was listening to you say that, too. I was listening to you do that rewrite. That is 100%. I back that. But with that being said, it's different types. There's cowboy, there's work, there's wrench, there's roper boots, okay? Like, which ones do you go to? The cowboy, or do you go to the roper boots?
I have no idea, dude.
Man, you got to lead me. Come on, man.
Listen, I grew up here,
I think I like the roper boots.
Okay.
But this caiman and this cowhide and this ostrich look good, okay, is what I'm telling you.
Okay. Okay. I'll pop over there here in a second.
Okay.
Bow and Ali on YouTube. The best pairing this station needs is Ron Slay and Ramon Foster together. Guess what? Friday, that's it. Savage Radio on Friday.
Yeah, I can't wait for it. My guy's coming through, man.
I mean, I'm going to listen to every second.
I'm going to hear him before I see him because he's probably going to have the music loud up in the truck with the bang in the back. But
yeah,
it's going to be a good time on Friday. I'm looking forward to it. But I can't overlook Babsy, though.
Gonna be fun? No, hell no. I'm just here as a part of the thing. So you got Buck Rising yesterday, Babsy on Thursday, Savage Radio on Friday, and you get me for another hour and a half or so here. We'll be here until 10 o'clock. We appreciate you being with us again. Terry Bradshaw coming up and going in on Aaron Rodgers on a radio show and the whole Steelers situation. So. That's coming up in the next segment. Right now, let's talk a little baseball. 13 of the 16 SEC teams are in the NCAA baseball tournament. 8 of the 16 regionals are being hosted by SEC teams, including Vanderbilt, who has Wright State coming up on Friday at 5 o'clock. Tim Corbin will join 3HL today at, I think, 5:20. Is that what I said?
Yeah, you said 5:20 earlier.
5:20.
Yeah, I'm here to back you up on that. You said 5:20.
20. Tennessee playing Miami of Ohio Friday at 5 o'clock, and Tony Vitello joined us on 3HL yesterday. And I want to run a few of these cuts by you to get your take on this. Mm-hmm. But, we've been talking about, like, what's not clicking with Tennessee this season. And it's interesting because, one of the things, like I talked with Tony V yesterday about this, is like there was one 41 season before him, and they won more than 40 games this year.
Yeah.
So, people are talking about the negatives, but in reality, I mean, that's an incredible run to be able to win more than 40 games and host a regional. But, like, did the 2 wins in the SEC tournament? Now, the Vandy thing was the Vandy thing.
They got smacked.
100.
They got pile drived is what happened.
They did. that win against Texas is what got them the host opportunity for the regional. Did Tennessee get their groove back?
Well, I think understanding the team has been something that's essential. We've got Hunter Ensley, who's the grandpa of our team. He's been around forever. But most of the other guys we look to for everyday reps or leadership, they're 2 or 1 year guys. And part of it is we have a fairly young team compared to other SEC teams. There's a lot of first year freshman guys in particular. And then this transfer portal thing has changed what was kind of our little niche of like that 22 team we had that was pretty memorable. That was built on freshmen that didn't play a whole lot. Then they played more as sophomores, and then either as juniors and seniors, they become our better players. And those days are fading for us, and I think for most other teams. So all that is a part of our DNA, and why each day forward with this team is more and more helpful about who belongs where, and then that guy getting comfortable with that position. But the 2 wins, the biggest value there, it's great to play in front of our fans, and the stadium is under construction. It's fun. It's Knoxville. But we needed to get home and rest a little bit. We had been on the road for 12 days, and it's been a grind of a season in general. So that's going to be the biggest benefit, is I think just being at our own place during the next week.
He said you're swimming with the sharks in this conference. Sometimes you bite them, sometimes they bite you, and it's done differently. So that cohesion that he had with the 22 group and the 24 group on some level, they just haven't had that because they've got 1 and 2 year guys. Everybody's going through that, but that is one change that he mentioned.
We watched LSU go through the exact same thing too. It's LSU won it, and then they dropped off.
Mississippi State won it and dropped off.
And now they're steaming back. You know what I'm saying? South Carolina, I was corrected on that one a few days back. I realized they won it. Then they fell off. They haven't come back the way you need them to just yet. But it happens in sport. It's the rotation, because when it's just like most NFL teams is what I relate to the most. When you have an NFL team or college football team, right? Mm-hmm. Those teams that win the national championship, how many guys did Michigan have invited to the combine? Was it 2 years ago? Like 22? With like 18 of them being drafted? Bama has been doing the exact same thing for time and time again. Georgia, Ohio State, all of them. And the same thing happens in baseball essentially too. Those guys become draft eligible. Who was it last year? The 4th rounder, young black kid. Golly, what is his name for the Vols last year? He went in the 4th round. I think if you were losing, I'm not sure if you ended up going that high, because teams want players that come from schools that win. It shows that you have the DNA and what it takes to be a part of a program to uplift it and make it better too. So he lost a lot of guys. I do think the Vols are in that dip. It's inexcusable, because some people say because of the talent you have, but you know why the transfer portal is so big in today's world? It's because you can go get experience. Experience goes a long way. Like, we look at Cam Ward.
So you lose out on cohesion.
You lose out on cohesion, right? Yes.
So they have 7 of the top 100 players.
7 of the top 100. Imagine when they grow up. Imagine when they grow up a little bit more. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what you're getting yourself into. And whenever you speak about rebuilding a team, like, coaches like to give, like, fans like to think like winning sometimes is normal. It's easy. Nick Saban winning all those championships. You know what I'm saying? Like, Kirby doing what he's doing. You know the challenge? And Kirby's actually going through it a little bit right now. It's sustaining it. Like, Kirby Smart and the Georgia Bulldogs' ability to go get bigs has been somewhat taken away from him, because other teams are doing the exact same thing. We just saw Miami, the Hurricanes, take a guy that Georgia would have easily gone and got. And you know what? With the incorporation of NIL, they say they paid the kid $2.5 million. Georgia didn't feel like that was the case. But again, getting good is one thing. Staying good, though, Mayor, is the challenge. And I think that's why you got to salute the greats.
Thing now. Yep. With that's NIL, basketball, same way.
I mean, I heard y'all giving the rundown of what Florida's doing in basketball.
Oh, yeah. They had guys come back, so.
I mean, legitimately. And you know all that is, though, Mayor? It's experience. You win with experience more than anything, man. And I think we overlook that sometimes because, you got this many stars. No, screw the stars. Sometimes I think the stars are overrated or misjudged anyway through that process.
Yep. Bill says on YouTube, people are acting like the sky's falling to have the 4th best record of the host teams. We do cover that with Tony Vitello in that conversation. So if you want to hear it, even if you're not a Tennessee fan, I think you would enjoy just kind of listening to a coach's mindset. And Vitello will tell you exactly what he thinks.
Yeah.
Like, there's no coach speak with him. So where you get your podcast, get that done. He did talk about the difference between this team and previous teams.
This team is definitely different than the others since we've had here. They're a little more laid back, and I don't think that means like playing the game casually. I just think when they show up and it's the best form of them, it's kind of like that fresh start we had against Alabama. It was the beginning of a new season, technically, with the tournament down in Hoover. And it was game one, fresh start. We had played Alabama. We beat them. They were confident. Of course, they should have been confident anyway. But it wasn't a lot of rah-rah or intensity or we're going to kill these guys. It's just a fun-loving, again, laid back sounds a little negative, but it's a little more calm and confident group than we've had. In 22, it was like I had to play the policeman every day to tame that group down a little bit.
Right.
Well, that group was wild, bro.
Yeah, they were. And it was kind of what made them go. And I think our guys, we've had to figure out what makes them go, but they've also kind of had to sort through that a little bit too. And, we had fireworks with the Vanderbilt game, and I think, this is my perspective, both teams were equally guilty of that. It was just the nature of a very competitive series here in Knoxville. And I don't know if this was the case for our guys, but I don't think they do very well with the whole let's go out and kill these guys and let's go out and dominate. It's better when they're more relaxed and they just go out and play and keep it simple. And we've tried to point that out to them, but by this time of year, it is up to those leaders. And I do think we got some positive leadership. And if anything, this group has been a fun group to come to work for every day or come to work with. And the team chemistry's been there, and it's gotten better and better each day, as opposed to with some teams, the more you spend time around each other, it's like a relationship, which I don't know much about that, but sometimes the more you spend time around somebody, the more you want to strangle them. This group has kind of gone the other way. It's been fun to be around each other every day.
Tony for the streets is what he's saying.
Well, yeah, and what's funny about that comment is like I said yesterday, we all know ladies love Cool James. That's how LL Cool J became LL Cool J. Ladies love Tony Vitello.
Hey, ladies love TV, baby.
All I hear about Tony V and what I know from him is that he's married to baseball. And he's in Nashville a lot, so
he just let us know he was for the streets. That's all. That's all it was. We can just call it what it is, baby. He for the streets.
But isn't it interesting to hear a very successful person talk about managing people? Right? And every group is different, Moan.
Yeah, it is. And you know what's funny, though?
And you got to figure that out and what pulls them.
Hearing him say last year team was more rah-rah up in your face, the 22 team
ready
was too. And then you know why the difference? That crew was older. They knew what they were, and they knew how they were going to do it. Mm-hmm. When you got a young team, man, you're a little bit more reserved. You're trying to figure out if you're good enough. You're trying to see if you are what you think you are, and you can't get too loud because you hadn't seen it. Mayor, when we got to the point in my career, well, I'll speak for myself. When I got to the point in my career where I was just like, yeah, I belong in this. Mm-hmm. I'm telling guys, we're running the ball right here. Mm-hmm. And talking trash the entire time.
I love hearing stories like
because
that.
It's a confidence thing. It's reps. I've seen almost everything under the sun. There ain't nothing you can do. It's film study. It's knowing your weaknesses more than they do. And this team, like he said, they're better when they're quiet because they're still figuring it out.
Cam Ward was mic'd up. I forgot about this until you just said that. He was mic'd up one day, and there's a clip where he's at the line of scrimmage, and somebody's talking trash to him from the defense. Yeah. And he goes, you know what? We're about to run it right here. We're going to run it right here. I'm telling you, it's going right here. Hands the ball off and runs it, gets like 5 yards in the first down. He goes, I told you.
You do that when you're confident in yourself, okay? You do that when you're confident in yourself. By the way, the player last year was Kavaris Tears.
Kavaris Tears, great player.
Yes.
Great player.
Winning program, you want that on your squad. You know what I'm saying? Kavaris also is a really good player, so it's not like he was just a part of a winning team. He earned that.
Tony V is for the streets.
He for the streets. He just told us. And look, if you live it, ain't nothing wrong with just saying it.
I'm just saying, he's in Nashville a lot. So
for the streets.
Ladies out there, head on a swivel. Tony V's coming.
Just don't fight him, fellas. If your lady want to go take a picture with him, he's all right. He's a cool dude.
He is a very cool dude. Yeah. Cool hang, too. one of the issues has been defense for them, right? And so from a managerial standpoint, from a coaching standpoint, he's been trying to tweak that and put people in different positions and all these things. And what's been tough for Tennessee, if you're looking for challenges with Tennessee, and again, very successful season, they're ranked 14th in the country, all of those things, but they have had defensive issues. And it's got to be a challenge from a managerial standpoint. He talked about that yesterday on 3HL.
Yeah, this will come off as real arrogant, but I just talked with another SEC coach that he felt like expectations from either media or fans didn't meet what he saw in the fall.
Okay.
And so I say arrogant because we know more about our group, and that's not just the coaches, the players. We're there every day, and sometimes there are no cameras around or people watching. So we kind of know all the deepest, dark secrets. We know the positives. We know this guy worked hard over the summer, and no one knows who he is, but he's going to be one of our most valuable pitchers. And I think we kind of had an idea that we had a lot of guys who were versatile defensively, but we were not going to be as strong defensively as we've been the last 3 years. And, it's a delicate balance is what's your best offensive lineup, what's your best defense, and then what's your best overall. And, the mistakes defensively have been in just a couple small categories. But unfortunately, they've piled up at times too. Yeah. And, again, our league will expose you. And one thing last year was our offense could probably put up as big a numbers as anybody in the country. So it kind of covered up some of those dirty little secrets that we knew, but maybe you guys didn't pay as much attention to, if that makes sense.
I love it when a coach says, he starts his answer with, "This is going to sound arrogant." But we know our guys. We know our guys. We're there every day.
100%.
So he knew that going into the season.
It was Brandon Arvidsson, right? Like him.
Oh.
Like that. I heard y'all ask about him yesterday.
Yeah, I asked if he was going to with Arvidsson's performance. What was it? 5 1/3.
Yeah, 5 1/3.
He got 16 outs, 9 strikeouts.
9 strikeouts.
Yeah. So
but they knew he had that.
Yeah, and so I asked, is he going to get a starting opportunity? And he said we haven't. He alluded to the fact that yes, that was a definite possibility, but that they haven't put it in. Yeah, put it in yet. But yeah, so that's interesting. So if you want to hear Tony Vitello, like all of the shows here on 104.5 The Zone that have great conversations throughout the course of the day, I don't call them interviews. I call them conversations because that's what we want. We want to present these things as if you were sitting here with us and what you might want to know as opposed to what we want to know. But you can download, rate, review, subscribe, all the podcasts. Coming up at 9 o'clock, Rhett Bryan will be in here. We'll talk more Titans football. When we come back, Terry Bradshaw on a radio show went in on the Aaron Rodgers Steeler situation. As a former Steeler, I can't wait to get your take on this. This is 3HL. No, it's not. It's Ramon and Will. There, I did it again. We'll be right back.
It's a great time to shop Genesis Diamonds right now, man. Before tariffs cause price hikes on imported diamond and jewelry, it's Ramon Foster, and Genesis is not raising prices on the pre-tariff inventory. So all in-stock merchandise is an incredible value right now. Genesis prepared for tariffs and made a lot of overseas purchases way in advance, too. Handcrafted rings, exquisite diamonds, colored gemstones, and a ton of luxury pre-owned Rolex watches. If you've got any special occasion coming up in the next 6 months or so, you need to get to Genesis before the pre-tariff merchandise is gone. Genesis is always going to be the value leader here, regardless of what happens in the world. They were built on that foundation, but it's way beyond price. It's their selection, their quality, their outrageously good customer service, which I love. The industry-leading warranties also, and don't forget, Genesis is the exclusive retailer for all the top names in bridal jewelry. The brands other stores wish they could get. Genesis Diamonds, where you always get more for your money, but especially right now. They're located in Green Hills and Cool Springs.
Jayhawk keeps bringing songs that I feel bad, like I'm disrespecting the artist by talking over it.
Let it breathe, then, Mayor. Let it breathe. Right here.
Wednesday edition of Ramon and Will. I'm Brent Doherty, one of the hosts of 3HL. Heard weekdays from 3 until 6 o'clock. Honored to be sitting in here with Big Savage, Ramon Foster.
Can I say something about this song?
Yes, sir.
I got one request. I need this to be playing in Josh Heupel's office often. We need George on his mind. That's the one demon we got to go past. Okay?
Just a little message from Ramon Foster to Josh Heupel here on a Wednesday morning.
We've gotten two of the big three. We've gotten Florida. We've gotten Bama a couple times under Josh. That Georgia demon is a little bit different. We had DJ Shockley on a couple weeks ago speaking about Georgia.
Great quarterback for Georgia back in the day.
Oh, my gosh. What a dude.
Good dude, too.
I'm trying to connect with most of the SEC in our spring roundabout, summer roundabout now, and DJ does color for them, too. So had Fernando Velasco, former Titan, connect me with him. He was like, y'all need to talk. And, of course, we did. But,
yeah, he and Babs are tight, too.
Yeah, Shockley's good, man. Most quarterbacks, retired ones, they're so savvy. I know Vince Young is savvy down in Austin now, wherever he is in Texas. He's, rebranded himself for good, but he's still a god. I heard Savage talking about his introduction to Vince Young when he first came into Austin. It was like, who is this Vince Young guy? And said it was pretty much like Aaron Judge, all rise, and everybody, the rest is history at this point for college.
So, I have managed to call this show 3HL twice today.
There you have. I would let it slide.
I did it last segment, and Babs immediately texts me and goes, "This is 3HL," with a bunch of laughing emojis. And I said, "Careful, sister.
Yeah.
You'll do it too."
You on deck.
Moan said, "You're on deck."
Yeah.
And she goes, "I know I will. LOL." Babs in here tomorrow. Big Savage, Ross Slay. Savage Radio on Friday.
Savage Radio
from 6 until 10.
They don't want it all day.
That's what's going on. Will Bowling on vacation. Well deserved.
Getting a little time.
Hope he's having a great time.
He better be.
Ramon and Will, brewed up by Scooter's Coffee. One of your boys.
What's that?
Went on a radio show.
Oh, my gosh.
Terry Bradshaw. Multiple Super Bowl champion.
Yeah.
Went on a radio show talking about the Aaron Rodgers Steelers situation. This is what he said.
What do you think about possibly Aaron Rodgers being the quarterback? That's a joke. He shouldn't. That is just, to me, is a joke. What are you going to bring him in for 1 year? Are you kidding me? I mean,
that's not the Steelers' way, right?
No, man. That guy needs to stay in California and go somewhere and chew on bark and whisper to the gods out there.
100%. These guys on the show, Mr. Bradshaw, know I'm not a fan of his. We've been around each other personally, and he was not a kind person.
Now, he does not. I had to go over and introduce myself to him. He's not. I had to go, hey, Aaron, I'm Terry Bradshaw. I know he knows me, but I just felt like I better tell him who I am.
Yeah.
And not, you walk in there and you get in his presence and you feel like it's going to start snowing.
Oh, my.
Go eat some bark.
Go eat some bark is what he told him.
Well, where he got that from
Chew on bark.
Was Aaron Rodgers was dating, what's that actress's name?
Oh,
Woodley.
The one that didn't wear deodorant.
Shailene Woodley.
Yeah.
She would eat bark. She said it helped her with her menstrual cycle. I don't know anything about that, but that's what she said. That is what she said.
I mean,
she did a lot of weird things.
I saw she didn't wear deodorant, so is that part of it too? Very from the earth is what you call her.
Very from the earth.
Very from the earth, man.
So what do you think about this Aaron Rodgers situation as a former Steeler?
I got one pushback from that. I wish Terry Bradshaw would say that in Pittsburgh. In my entire 11 years, we never saw him come into the locker room. We never saw him be around the organization. He's had a lot of comments about the organization in general. If you're going to talk about it, at least be there and show face, too, because he said a lot of stuff about Coach Tomlin, Ben, and other guys. And on Aaron Rodgers, he's more right than he is wrong on this one. Why are you waiting for a guy like him that's undecided in it? But that hits home a little bit harder if you go actually see and say, hey, how you doing, Art Rooney? How's everything going?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that relationship has been there for a very long time. But here's the other thing, though, too. Publicly, publicly, like Terry Bradshaw saying that, is going to have everybody in the nation talking about it. So it does embarrass the Steelers, and I think they need just a little bit of that too, because this is kind of foolish. Like, dog, that girl don't want you. Like, what are you doing dating her? It's like, stop buying her gifts. The car ain't gonna keep her. Like, stop, man. The girl don't want you. This is where I look at this Aaron Rodgers situation. You wasting your time. So, there's no guarantee what he's going to be.
I love it. That is definitely true.
Yeah.
That's definitely true. I mean, the one radio guy was like, that's not really the Steelers' way. That's kind of true, too.
Yeah, it is. I think that guy was another Hall of Famer, too. I didn't get his name off top, but yeah, I saw that one. It's one of them situations. Like, dog.
You can watch the show live, YouTube, Facebook Live, Twitter, and Twitch. We appreciate you guys tuning in on Zone TV and also on 104.5 The Zone. When we come back, an hour of Titans Talk with Rhett Bryan, executive producer of Titans Radio. That's coming up. Also, Colin Cowherd, one of the national guys, actually loves Cam Ward and thinks positive things are about to happen for the Titans. It's kind of rare when you can dig up a national guy saying something like that. We'll do that. Stay tuned if you want in, 615-737-1045. This is Ramon and Will. I'm Brent Doherty. Ramon and Will, brewed up by Scooter's Coffee.
Two Rivers Ford announces employee pricing for everyone. Every tradesman, every dad, every rising star. You pay what we pay. Two Rivers Ford. Locally owned. American made.
What's going on? 9:02 from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. Good morning. I'm Justin Hawkins. The Tennessee Titans on the practice field today as Phase 3 of OTAs continue and open to the media at 11 a.m. this morning. Head coach Brian Callahan is scheduled to meet with the media before practice at 10:15, and coordinators John Bones Fossil, Nick Holtz, and Denard Wilson all scheduled for after-practice media at 1:15 this afternoon. Tonight, Nashville SC takes on Columbus Crew at 7 p.m. You can hear it right here on 104.5 The Zone with pregame at 6:30. Nashville closing out their 3-game road trip in Columbus and looking to extend their undefeated streak to 8 games tonight. Conference finals tonight in the NBA. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and the Oklahoma City Thunder host Anthony Edwards and the Minnesota Timberwolves for Game 5. OKC trying to secure the series up 3-1 as their current lead and make the NBA Finals for the first time since back in 2012. Tip-off tonight at 7:30 on ESPN in OKC. In the NHL, Florida Panthers up 3-1 in their series as they face off against the Carolina Hurricanes tonight for Game 5. Florida is looking for their third straight Stanley Cup Finals appearance and become the first back-to-back champs for the first time since Tampa Bay did it in 2020 and 21. Puck drop tonight at 7 p.m. on TNT in Raleigh. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you've got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Wednesday edition of Ramon and Will. I'm Brent Doherty, one of the hosts from 3HL, filling in today. Babsy will be here tomorrow with Ramon Foster, Big Savagery. Thanks for having me, Ramon. This has been fun, man.
Man, it's been a good time, y'all.
Savage Radio on Friday. Slay Dog in here.
Yeah, Savage Radio on Friday. Slay Dog comes to join the party. You know they saved the best for last, man. It ain't me. It ain't you. It ain't Babs. It ain't Buck.
Rhett Bryant's here. Am I supposed to say something? You guys are like handsome.
He's on the fourth for the fourth hour. It's like fourth quarter.
Hour 4.
Fourth quarter, you walking down to the other end like the Vols do, Mayor. Come on,
It is
man.
hour 4 for us, but it could be hour 1 for someone listening.
Got to catch up and go check the podcast.
How about that?
I go check the podcast, get the other 3.
So Buck Rising show coming up next. Lucas Pansika in the next room getting that show ready. I didn't see Buck. He's not here yet.
He'll be here.
I think he'll be at Ascension St. Thomas Sports Park. I think.
Real tangible stuff.
Because there's
today.
OTA today. That is the first time we are made available, or they've made us eligible to get in. However you want to phrase it.
Yeah, so that was a good way to get there. And then there will be talking points after.
Yeah, so Coach Callahan at 10:15, then practice 11 to 12:45, and then coordinators at 1:15. So it'll be our first real chat with John Bones Fossil. Very interested to see how that works in OTAs today. I'm very interested to see special teams part of this. And, of course, you always want to go over to big coach Bill Callahan and watch them work Bertha and Olga, the big sleds, and see who's there. And see this new look J.C. Latham.
Oh. Which we'll get to momentarily. You'll hear audio during Buck Rising Show Cover 2. Also, 3HL coming up today from 3 until 6 o'clock. Man, this has been fun. Let's talk some Titans football. Rhett Bryant, executive producer of Titans Radio in studio. Phase 3. We were talking about a little bit earlier. For those that don't know, it's just kind of a ramp-up opportunity. And so now you can do 7-on-7, 9-on-7, 11-on-11. Technically, Ramon, no contact.
You can do everything. Now, this is essentially a simulated camp practice at this point. This is really what, during the season, what a Wednesday or Thursday is like, depending upon the days. Because, there's only so many padded practice you can have anyway. Like, this is what the season is going to be like. So when you say, like, no physicality added to it, like, there's a component of being physical because defensive line coaches need to see their guys do one-on-ones, need to see them get upfield. And on the other side of that, too, young players and just offensive linemen need to be able to feel that strain also.
See, and what Ramon is saying is this point, I mean, everything up to this point has been individual work, group work, position group work. Now it's what is being installed and what you've learned and what you can do with speed minus pads. So, see how everything works operationally and correct mistakes as they come and pop up. And so for first-year guys here, and obviously undrafteds and rookie class, it's huge for them.
Huge, absolutely huge. So
there's so much turnover with this team. Right. It's really huge for the Titans, period.
So 7 teams began before yesterday, 20 teams yesterday, and then 5 teams today. So you mentioned the turnover. There always is, but it's a little more healthy this go around.
Well, yeah, because you have 9 draft picks. They have 16 undrafted signed, and then 19 free agents. Do the math.
Yeah, that's a lot of newness.
And it's very young too, Brent. I mean, 44 of the 90 are less than 25 years old.
That's young. That's a lot.
Now, what that ends up being, we'll see. But right now,
it's going to be fascinating to see how they, you guys that are going to practice, set up the structure of practice too. Like, you need a lot of reps from a lot of young guys, and just in totality, just a team, right? Like, you mentioned that many young dudes, like 4 quarterbacks to throw out there also. The offensive lineman that you brought in, the veteran guys, trying to see what they're made of. Like, the stirring of the pot happens. They like, we got the water to a boil, you know what I'm saying, in the first couple of phases. We threw the stuff in there and we just let it simmer. Now it's time to start moving this pot around and see what this gumbo going to turn into.
That's right. And, John Bones Fossil is going to, get a better look at who potential return guys are, who's the personal protector for Johnny Hecker, the punter. I mean, that's just one little corner of it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and just to see operationally in the second go around the sun for Brian Callahan and how all this works.
DK is going to get a healthy look at return, right?
I would think so. Running a 4.32 at the combine,
He has to at this point. I'm very interested though to see what Callahan's presence is going to be like. Brian Callahan's presence is going to be like this time around. Will he be in a position where you hear him be more vocal? Because that's one thing I've heard and recognized too about when Vrabel was here. You heard him way before you saw him.
There was no question who was running practice.
No doubt about that. And you don't have
he's out there hitting people.
Well, I mean, there's that part of it too. Put the bag down, coach. Somebody should have got him one day. Somebody should have really just tried him. But Vrabel probably hits the heavy bag still, probably got a thick dip in his mouth too. I mean, you got to have a good foundation to move him around. So he's probably waiting on that opportunity.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And I think your point is right, Ramon, because you heard Brian Callahan as soon as the season was over with the season wrap-up presser the following Monday that he realizes he needs to spend more time with the other phases, and especially on defense, because he's an offensive-minded coach. He's got the number 1 overall pick in Cam Ward here, and he's got these 3 other quarterbacks, and that's certainly something, but you have to work from a 30,000-foot view operational thing when you come and all 3 phases are in here and you're working these guys. And he even admitted, he was like, I need to spend more time popping into defensive meeting rooms, popping into, so I think it'll be interesting to see his interaction as it pertains to all 3 phases going, from today forward, what we see, what the public, what the media sees.
That's why it's super unique for, I didn't mean to cut you.
No, you're good.
But that's why it's super unique for head coaches that take on the responsibility of being the DC or the OC. Because your main job that you're going to be judged on is how good the offense is or how good the defense is, and there is no veil to cover you up at those moments right there, And that's why I guess he probably got lost in the offensive duties and quarterbacks and, losing. Like, there was a lot on Callahan's plate as it pertains to what last year was for him. Considering the amount of experience he had, too. So we talked a little bit earlier before the show started, like, there was a list, and Robert Walsh sent it to me earlier, too, where it brought up, I got it right here. It was Solak 100 things to know for the 2025 NFL season. 100 days out, I think, was yesterday or the day before. It was
yesterday, yep.
And what's fascinating is, in this article, Callahan wasn't on the hot seat. Mike McDaniel was, and I forget who else. Maybe
he has
Dayball.
to be on the hot seat.
Yeah, he does, but like Callie's not. And we said earlier before the show, it's like almost seemed like people are recognizing this is probably his first year. He got a mulligan.
Well, and the other part
a reset, maybe.
Yeah, and I think that's where people have finally, after they saw 2024, says, okay, that's where this team is, not just
the coach,
right? And listen. Whatever ends up happening at the quarterback position, and we pretty much suspect what's going to happen with the quarterback position, you get a renewed honeymoon period, if you will, for all involved when you have a potential new face of the franchise. So, yeah, I think I think you're right. I think it could, with an asterisk beside it, be Callahan's first year. Because you talking about going through it now. You hit on some of it. I can only imagine what it would have been like if he didn't have his dad there working with O-line. Because, I mean, you got a guy that's been a head coach and wealth of experience and knowledge as it pertains to that group, but working from a head coaching perspective. And, I mean, it was kind of like Murphy's Law. Anything that could happen did. And he weathered the storm, and here he is.
Yeah, and it's almost, I mean, think about the other stuff that came out, too. You end up trading away D-Hop. A couple linebackers. You had some injuries at a spot or two, like Cushenberry going down. You got a rookie left tackle. You had a turnstile at right tackle. Like,
there was a lot going on.
Yeah, if they hold to it, like, I know a lot of people, jump on the Miss Amy train and like, oh, you got to make sure you do this, and that. This seems to me like patience has been preached, from her to others to everybody involved, that it's a process. It really is. Building up a team is a very complex process, and it looks ugly when you're losing. And that's usually going to be the loudest noise in those moments right there.
And Ramon, I'm going to lean into your offensive line love and talk, because that's what you did for so long, so well. I'm interested to see what Dan Moore looks like at left, what JC looks like at right, what this group looks like together. Because Kevin Zeitler, I have no doubts about. Seasoned vet, 35-year-old, been there, done that, got the T-shirt.
Yeah.
But I'm interested to see what that looks like, and just to see the level of intensity and some exuberance from Bill Callahan that's a pretty major upgrade left to right there. And Peter's going into year 3 at left guard.
This is the year.
So,
Speaking of PFF, I did read that Skoronski was top 10. I think he was 7th in terms of run blocking.
Run blocking. I thought his pass pro got the highest praise. That's a bonus. Then.
Let's do this when we come back. Let's talk about J.C. Latham dropping all the weight, okay? He was on with the Buzzing with the Boys guys. We'll play that cut for you. We played it a little earlier, but just in case you missed it, I think you'll want to hear this. And also, Tennessee Titans fans love to say that National Guy doesn't give them attention. Colin Cowherd definitely did that. We'll play that cut for you. He loves Cam Ward and what that could mean for the Titans moving forward. We've got a lot coming up, talking Titans football with Rhett Bryan, executive producer of Titans Radio. This is Ramon and Will, brewed up by Scooters Coffee. Wednesday edition of Ramon and Will. Appreciate you being with us. Brent Doherty, Ramon Foster, Rhett Bryan, executive producer of Titans Radio in studio.
With Ray Charles.
Hit your mic.
Ray Charles.
Yes, sir.
With the bump back.
Jayhawk's been on it today.
He has been on
He's
it.
been on it today.
Titans fans that are Gen 1 Titans fans fondly reminisce about that song because that was the walk-off song with the Titans home win for many, many years.
That's awesome.
Seriously.
That's so disrespectful, and I love it. That's pretty cool right there, right? But it's crazy.
It's disrespectful, and I love it.
Why do we care about them leaving out? Losers? Hey, take this with you.
That's right. The best ever was when Javon Curse would get a sack.
Yeah.
And they would play freak out.
Les Chic.
Oh, wow.
Say freak.
That was incredible. You want to talk about hype buildings, man.
Yeah.
That first year, they didn't lose.
Well, and he was one of the main tipping points in a lightning in a bottle type.
Dwayne will tell you that every day. He said that was the difference.
He was the spark, man.
He's like, we didn't have to cover anymore for more than 2 seconds.
Hey, listen,
whether he got there or not.
I got the really cool opportunity to talk to that rookie class with a bunch of those guys.
Yeah, peeped.
And Femi Oladejo, I really got his attention. I was like, hey, I said, Micah Parsons, his rookie year in 21, had 13 sacks with 2 games left. I said, but he was dinged up, and they shut him down. The Cowboys shut him down. I said, you know whose sack record he was chasing as a rook? I said, this guy right here, number 90.
Wow.
14 and a half sacks, still stands over 25 years later. Oh, Femi's like, oh,
that's
wow,
crazy.
okay.
Look, I know we can't make too much out of clips, and shorts and all those things, but that dude, he looks like he's got something.
Ask Rob Johnson. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. And in a way, has that same energy and vibe. Not saying he's Javon Curse.
Energy's a good
but
word.
the energy and the vibe he brings,
Yep.
very positive.
Yeah.
Just kind of lights up a room. And, I'm interested to see him today, for sure.
I've heard everything about him. And, a lot of people bring up, well, this isn't fake. This is him. This has been him as far as his attitude, approach to coming on the field. And his twitch, I've heard, is better than his pre-draft evaluation was.
Well, part of it, too, is
what it looks like.
He's still learning the position.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was 4
10 games.
Yeah.
He's got 10 games at edge.
4 games in last year for the Bruins is when they moved him to outside. He was an off-ball linebacker before that. So, yeah. But Javon Curse, wow.
So 8 games at edge.
Yeah.
It's going to be fun to watch his development for sure.
Uh-huh.
And it's funny because, that's why I think the narrative was the narrative, that he's going to be a take-time player. I don't see that, though.
Well, there's not a lot of time to take. I mean, they need him.
Right. So he's going to get reps.
Oh, there's no question. Yeah. He's going to get reps. They need him.
Titans fans love to say that, and for good reason, that national guy doesn't give them any attention. Well, one just did. Colin Cowherd loves Cam Ward and what he may mean for the Titans. Listen in.
There's 4 people, and only 4 in my opinion, that will change outcomes. Number 1 is Cam Ward, Tennessee. They were so hard to watch offensively, where even games they outplayed teams, Tennessee was so bad at quarterback with Will Levis. They lost games where they out-physicaled, out-schemed, and outplayed teams. Cam Ward is accurate, moves, coachable. I mean, Miami's had some good quarterbacks. He broke all the Miami records. There's a history of this league when guys come in without a lot of stars and without a lot of pats on the back. Nobody's pandering to them. That's jet fuel. So I think Cam Ward changes outcomes. I think Tennessee's going to be a playoff team.
One nugget that he said, now, that's blowhard type stuff, but one nugget that I found interesting and was right, was they out-physicaled teams, they out-schemed teams, and still lost because of mistakes made at quarterback. And we were talking about this earlier. The line is thin between good and bad.
Listen, whoever prepped him for that nugget did the proper homework.
That's right.
Because a lot of what he said was right.
Yeah, 2-6 and 1-score games. I mean,
led the league in turnover. I mean, listen, when you have, I think last count it was 29 offensive touchdowns.
Yeah.
I shouldn't have said it that way. Just touchdowns. Those are always on offense usually. But anyway, and you had 28 turnovers. Yeah. I mean, when you do the giveaway, takeaway, the turnover ratio, and you're negative, what did they end up? Negative 16?
They were such big moment turnovers.
Oh, gosh. It was just – but that part, Colin Cowherd was right. And the part where it gets to the hot take, we'll see. Like
the playoff team.
I know Titans fans are praying to the good man upstairs, and I would be right there with you.
Well, Moan, I'm not saying he's Jaden Daniels either, but what were people saying in May about Washington last year? I mean, they hadn't been in an NFC Championship game in like 3 decades. Like, why would you think that they would? But that's the kind of thing, and in roster-wise, different situations.
Absolutely.
But that is how quickly you can change things in the NFL now.
Absolutely. And look, you're right to point out difference in roster construction from the 2024 Commanders and Titans are 2 different things. So we'll see what that ends up being. Right. But, there's a reason why you have the first pecking order in the waiver wire through week 3 of the regular season, and you have the worst record and you have the first overall pick. It's so that everyone has a chance. And we have seen teams go 4-12 to a conference championship game, or 4-12
Houston Texans to the playoffs.
Sure.
To win the division. Same thing.
But yeah, anything is possible. It is. There's a part of me with Cam Ward, with his journey and his family unit, his background, that may have really prepared him for such a moment where others might have trouble. And it's not saying it won't be challenging to him, because there's a lot of pressure when you're the first overall pick. But I think he was carved out for this moment.
Yeah. It'll be huge if everything comes together. Like we mentioned often Washington Commanders and Jaden Daniels, right? And what he did for them. And that is, boy, that's a dream for any franchise. I don't care where the quarterback is at in his career. You make it to the conference championship, 1 game away from winning it all or going to the big game, you'll take those every single year. But I was looking, it's like, how did they get to that point? Because I was thinking to myself, well, the defense had to have been crushing it. But you look back at just the surface level stats of what they did. Defensively, they were middle of the road. They were 18th, giving up 23 points a game. That's fair in today's NFL. It used to be under 20 is what you were looking for. Keep us under 20, we win football games. 23 points is what the defense average giving up. But then you say, well, how in the world did they go 12-5? They were unique offensively. They were averaging 28.5 points a game. They were 5th as far as points scored for the offense. That's the point right there, Rhett, to where you hope that magic that Cam Ward has and possess can show up to make guys playmakers, or have that defense be uber unique to where he can give you the ball back so he can operate. I don't know which one this story is going to be this year, but if it could be one of those situations right there to where somebody's pulling the rope more than the other to support, I'll take it.
And if you have those scenarios and those phases line up, look out. And so, look, right place, right time. Think about that primetime game against the Bears.
Yeah.
At FedEx Field, and how that ended with Jaden Daniels. Like, listen, I like Jaden Daniels a lot coming out of the draft last year.
You did.
I basically said he was Lamar Jackson light.
Yep.
And because Lamar Jackson is 1 of 1. That skill set's unique, but he has a lot of attributes like that. Well, Cam Ward kind of has some attributes like that, right? The thing, you hit the nail on the head. You have to score more than 18 points. That's why day 3 of the draft was 4 straight offensive weapons to work with.
Necessary.
Those kinds of things that you're looking for. It's wild to think. And speaking of the Bears, the Bears have never had a 4,000-yard passer. The Titans have never had a 4,000-yard passer. The franchise has one. Warren Moon, 46.89 and 46.90 in yards in 1990 and 91 in the prime of the run and shoot offense.
Okay.
But the closest 4,000-yard passer would be Tannehill in 20 at 3,800 and change. So, and I know that it's like, that's yards, that's not points. There's usually points tied to that stuff.
Usually it is.
And to have that many yards passing, you're not turning it over. And Tannehill had that 1.5 year run where he was the number 2 passer in the NFL, and he wasn't turning it over at all.
No, it was, you looked in the statistics, it was him and Mahomes. Him and Mahomes, him and Mahomes.
The Titans were winning a lot of games, too.
You better believe it, including beating Mahomes.
And going to the AFC Championship game.
Had somebody asked me last night about Ryan Tannehill. Where is he at? It's just like, well, Flacco's out here getting a roster point, right? Yes.
Well, Ryan made quite a bit of cabbage himself. I mean, he can do what he wants.
He probably in the Bahamas. Most quarterbacks go to the Bahamas. Crazy.
Why is QB's in Bahamas? Well, I mean, he was serious when he said it'll take the right situation.
Are we managing offshore accounts? What are we doing?
I mean, they usually have nice houses with fishing boats.
Well, it all starts up front. And, a lot's been made of the conversation that J.C. Latham had with the Bussin' with the Boys guys, and we'll play a cut about him talking about managing weight. But for those that don't know, he was playing at 360 last year, and he understood, I guess, self-evaluation. Maybe I'm getting run around a little bit. I need to drop some lbs. He looks great at 342 is what he's listed at now. Wants to be at 325, 330. Moan said, not too light. But let's start the conversation with him talking with Taylor Lewan and Will Compton about managing weight. This is J.C. Latham on Bussin' with the Boys.
Well, off the field, like my weight, honestly, I remember specifically.
What are you pushing right now?
Oh, well, now I'm 340. I'm good. Yeah. I'm not going to say I'm good, but I want to get down like 325, 330. But then, cause I was 360 and they were like, hey, we want you to get down to 345. And honestly, I wouldn't say it's kind of cocky, but I kind of say just like coming from them, I remember Saban saying the same thing when I hit 360 and all the strength coaches were like, well, he put on 15 pounds of muscle. So it's like, you know what I mean? Like, he's going to be okay, and then they saw how I was moving out there and Saban was like, okay, he's good, So having the thumbs up approval from Saban, I was like, okay, I know how this is going to go. They're going to say I need to lose weight. As soon as they see how I move out here, they're going to say I'm good. And then after a while, I was like, you know what, like this is a different speed. So I definitely should lose weight. But I'm not gonna say I was playing good, but I was playing like relatively like honestly good. Like, you know what I mean? So I was like thinking like, well, I don't think my weight's that much of an issue. And I literally remember thinking that like after we played the Chargers, like, cause I did a really good job in pass pro, and the only sacks that I remember, Bud Dupree had 2, and it was like off of like a late spin when Will tried to escape the pocket up. And, that's where his sacks came from. And I remember I was like, man, I just played Bosa and, Bud Dupree, and, I've been doing good up until this point. I don't think my weight's an issue. And like from there, it was really bad. So getting that weight under control for sure. Like,
isn't it crazy? Like the moment you feel like you're good in something, like you get humbled immediately.
Because I think shortly after that we played Houston, and I played Will Anderson and Danielle Hunter, and that's when I was like, I gotta lose all this weight. So that was, because it affected everything. Like, my get off, my finishes down the field, whatever it might be, and like, obviously we're in OTAs now, so we're watching the film from last year, and like everybody knows I lost weight, but we're just looking at that shit, kind of just like laughing, like what the cause it's just so blatant that I was too big.
I love it when guys let you in. Keith, real quick, I want to address this. Keith says on X, comparing Ward to Lamar Jackson at this point, Rhett, is a stretch. That's not what he did. He was sort of comparing. Number one, you said Lamar's one of one, but we were talking about Jaden Daniels.
Yeah. And I said
not Cam Ward.
I said that Cam Ward has some of those attributes.
Yes.
He has some Mahomes type attributes.
So,
not saying I'm not going to put that on the young man. He is Cam Ward.
We talked with his coach from Incarnate Word, who was the offensive coordinator at Texas Tech
Eric
for
Morris.
Mahomes, and Morris said the comparison is real, and he said the comparison is that Cam Ward will put the work in with the playbook with his teammates. He will put the work in like Mahomes, and so that's where some of that compare, because a lot of talking heads want to compare people to Cam Ward to Patrick Mahomes, but we talked with the head coach, and I know you have too, and he was like, "Yeah, that's a fair comparison." But I just wanted to address Keith. That's not what we were doing.
Well, listen, what made it real to me is when Mac and I and Amy Wells were doing those pre-draft positional OTPs, and he said, "You know what, Rhett?" He said, "I went back, looked at my 2017 book, my draft book, and there's some similarities in the thumbnail description I wrote up between Patrick." I'm like, when Coach Mack tells you that, it's like, okay, well, maybe I'm not. Maybe I did keep my powder dry.
Remember when everybody used to talk about quarterbacks spinning it? Mahomes is different. I always thought he played the position like a shortstop deep in the hole, where it's more of a flick of the wrist.
Yep. Yeah.
Cam Ward is like that.
Yes.
He's definitely like that.
Bendy.
Back to J.C. Latham. Moan, to reset this point, he wants to drop weight. What did you take from him understanding that he needed to do that? And is 325, 330 his goal? Is that too light?
No, not
right
too light, because he's still a ball of muscle, too. That's the other part behind him. Like, size is what he has naturally, so it's never going to be a thing of can he manage it. Like he said, it's new to him. Hell, he might just be faster than he's ever thought he could be in his career. This is clearly the lightest he's been probably since high school or something. Like, and the other part of it is, too.
But before you move on from that point, can he sustain, like, bull rush guys?
Easily.
Okay.
Like, that is technique, and he's got one of the best technical coaches around in Coach Bill Callahan, too. So that's also the other side of it. But what he's got to realize, we were just talking about the freak, Javon Curse. There's one of those on almost every team. If he can't move, he can't help himself. And especially like, okay, you move a guy in the guard. That's why I always, if I see somebody heavy-footed, like, oh, he's probably a guard. I'm not saying that because that's the position I played.
Either that or short arms.
Listen to me now.
Yeah.
Oh, you better have real good feet if you got short arms,
That's
okay?
right.
Which is why, again, the conversation, like, respectfully to Peter Scarron, when you see him do it on the NFL level, but watching this college tape when he came out, I pointed and said guard. And it's like that because at that position, when you have those athletes that are 4.4s and 4.3s and 4.5s with long arms and just as tall as you are, if you can't move, you can't get in between somebody. One of the things that Dan Moore said last week in his intro presser was almost excuse making, but essentially this. He said they were getting sacks, but I was in front of them. He's letting you know I'm getting to the point, but I got to be able to finish and polish up my technique and have a better understanding. Like, getting in front of a guy is usually the biggest point to be made as far as playing tackle. Did you get to your point? Did you cut him off? And you got to be quick enough and have the endurance, as far as JC concerned, to actually do that week in and week out. We talked earlier, Rhett, like at that point in the season, it was week 11 on the NFL, but 10 games for the Titans. Plus the 3 preseason games, he'd already played 14 games. He probably looked at that Chargers game and said, dang, we got 8 more weeks of this.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
and thought he did well.
Well,
he specifically mentioned the Houston game, and Daniil had 2 sacks. Will Anderson had 2 sacks. He specifically mentioned that, and Moan pulled up his PFF grade that week. What was it, like a 24 or something?
Probably his worst game.
29.2.
Yeah.
It went down from there.
What I heard in that clip from Bussin' with the Boys is this. First of all, I can't believe that he was in a weight class near Tavondre Sweat playing. I'm like, whoa.
Ooh, that's a great way to put it.
I mean, think about that for a second. The other part I heard in my head, speed to power, speed to power, speed to power. There's so many of those pass rushers in the NFL that's their game. And he's like, that's what I've got to get better at.
And the other thing, Moan, to your point is, you used to have like a left defensive end and a right defensive. Now they will find you and they will move guys around to take advantage of you not getting out there and sliding.
We used to call them the candy bar on defense. Who we going to? Who we want to bite out of? You don't want to be you don't want to be the weak link. Like, every team got one, and it could be the weak link on any day. Heck, it could be Von Miller that can't hold up in a run. Right? He can be the weak link. But it's a matter of don't consistently be that as per everybody's game plan, and JC's trying to correct that.
And it's a potential setup for a superb second-year move for him in a couple things. You're talking about a top 10 pick that recognizes that he needed to make an adjustment.
Yeah.
So there's the coachability part and the accountability and the responsibility and being now a vet.
Yep.
And then the other part of it is moving to what most believe is his natural position.
And ain't no wrong with right tackle.
And right tackle's just as doggone important as left.
Thanks to Lane Johnson. You know what I'm saying? They're getting paid like left tackles.
Yeah.
Because to what Brent just said, they will move their best rushers over to the TJ Watt rushes primarily off the right tackle side.
But he did a thing in his rookie year that he hadn't done a whole lot of.
Yeah.
Now he's going to a place that's familiar to him.
He can breathe now.
And he's got one of the best position coaches in the whole world to help him there. And then if he's doing the self-improvement, I'm like, all of that lines up for something being really good for him for the second year.
Brett Doherty, Ramon Foster. He is Rhett Bryan, executive producer for Titans Radio. When we come back, Calvin Ridley says OTAs are different this year. I'm going to ask you about that. Also, midweek motivation coming up next. Stay tuned. This is Ramon and Will, brewed up by Scooter's Coffee. This freaking record. You got to be of a certain age, but you remember when Boyz II Men came out.
I do.
ABC DVD.
Whenever I remember when BET and MTV and all of them used to play music videos.
Before they became reality television.
Exactly. And sitcom TV.
But this record, every song hit. Every song.
Talking about.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, to the kids listening, there used to be these things called records, and they had like multiple songs on them.
I bet this was
not just a track.
This was the theme of senior proms everywhere in this window.
You better. I'll play it right now at a graduation, right? This should be in the background as the principal and the valedictorian are saying their speeches.
Well, it's one of those songs too that it's transcendent regardless of generation too. Like,
for sure.
They
younger,
do
older.
Jayhawk on it. So Moan began the show today by saying R&B, Ramon and Brent. And so it's been an R&B thing for Jayhawk today.
Little R&B Wednesday. Nothing wrong
Nashville, this is more than a match. It's the countdown to history. On June 10th, the U.S. men's national team takes on Switzerland in the Coca-Cola send-off match. Their final test before the summer's premier regional tournament kicks off just 4 days later. Tickets start at just $35. Get yours now at Ticketmaster or at 1045thezone.com. Buck Rising show from 10 to 1 today. Cover 2. They'll all be talking about Titans OTA session today. Phase 3 underway. And there will be audio opportunities throughout the course of the day today on 104.5 The Zone, so make sure you listen. Again, coming up on 3HL today, NASCAR driver Ryan Blaney at 3:20. Coach Mac, presented by Two Rivers Ford at 4 o'clock. Todd Furman talks sports gambling. Michigan Panthers offensive lineman in the UFL, Ryan Nelson. He is the EA Sports motion capture actor for EA Sports. So when you see pancake blocks on Madden, this is your guy. Vanderbilt baseball coach Tim Corbin at 5:20. Rhett Bryan in studio. And Rhett, Calvin Ridley said OTAs are completely different this year. And it's interesting. Mona and I were talking about, you've got a coaching staff that's intact heading into year 2. Clearly they've done self-evaluation as a staff and as coaches. And so you understand, okay, maybe we didn't do some things as well as we should. Maybe we should tweak this, tweak that. I'm anxious to see as OTAs go through and you guys get the opportunity to talk to more people what that actually means.
Yeah, and listen, after what was the 2024 season happened, I think there was plenty of time for self-evaluation, self-scout, and what my dad would say, a little come to Jesus meeting.
That's right.
And there was plenty of those, I'm sure. But yeah, I don't know. It seems like, and look, hope springs eternal with all 32 teams this time of the year, but it seems like things are, navigationally, compass-wise, going, in a better direction. Yeah. Regardless of what win-loss record ends up being in 2025 here in just a few months. But, when you have, a veteran wide receiver who's been a part of, now 3 teams and who has seen some things and done some things, offering that, it gets your attention. Because, in fact, Ramon and I were talking about this yesterday. If a guy is offering that up and, unsolicited, that tells me they feel it. They, they keep things close to the vest with us coming up and asking questions. But if you're offering that, then something must truly be a change or you wouldn't speak about it.
Lots of Titans talking points coming up today on 104.5 The Zone. Make sure you stay tuned all day long. Moan, this has been fun, man. Thank you so much for having me in here. It's been an honor to sit in with you. Will Bowling on vacation. Tomorrow, Babs will be with Moan. That'll be good. That'll be fun.
Get ready.
And then Savage Radio on Friday. Ron Slay and Ramon Foster together.
It's Freeform Friday, boys and girls.
It is. I can't wait to see her TikTok video she's got of all of us, too. Whenever she releases that, even though I don't have a TikTok, the little snippet we had to record for her.
Yeah, I'm the only person that hasn't done it yet. So we're waiting on me, Moan. Thank you. Yes, Babs is all over me about that. We'll leave it there and leave you wondering what that might be, but that will be coming out.
You might need the next segment after this.
I need this, Moan, every Wednesday. Inky Johnson, midweek motivation.
I feel like we all go through things in life, not only just for us. Like, I think it's certain experiences that we have and we encounter. So once we get on the other side of it and another cat comes along that encounters something to the extent of what we went through, we can share how we got through it, right? I think that's the blessing of it. Like it says in the Bible, overcome us by the blood of the Lamb and the word of our testimony. And so that's why when we hear cats share something that we can relate to, we like, bro, like, respect. You know what I'm saying? And so for me, I felt as if I'd encountered this and got through it. So when another cat encountered a struggle, you know, around the game or in the game, I can come along and not try to share with them how they need to deal with it, but like, hey, bro, listen, man, I'm here. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that's the difference between sympathy and empathy. I think empathy is a powerful tool. Sympathy is when somebody goes through something, Fred go through something, just like, man, Fred, tough break, bro. Bad state of affairs. Jan, go through something, bro, tough break. But empathy, like, nah, I'm gonna come there, bro, I'm here if you need me. I'll walk with you if you need me. You know what I'm saying? Because I done went through something, that I done extracted something from it, that I feel I can apply to your situation and add a certain level of value.